Hello and welcome to the dumpster fire of conversation. I am Scott, the man who watches birds and polishes turds. I'll pass it on to my hetero life mate, Damien.
What's up? I'm D, man with plans. This is Joe. Big Joe.
And hello. How's it going? Welcome to the podcast.
And yes, that I do know that I have stolen that from Kevin Smith, but that is my homage to Kevin Smith, as I am the fat man, and he was the sexy beast that was the J to my fat silent Bob. And
Well,
so
we are all the fat man at this point. But
Be fat
Hey,
man on
Baked
Batman.
Bean!
what's up, Baked Bean?
Baked Bean! What's up?
so
You must be our third like.
yeah, there you go. There you go. How's life been treating y'all? No, I'm just kidding. So life has hit some people, has hit us. Eric is out of town, so he won't be joining us for this recording. And so because of that, we were like, well, we'll just do a live stream instead of record it. So why not, right? And so that's why we're going to just do the whole thing as a live stream. And why it's the threesome stream rather than the foreplay stream. And so, because there's only three of us. So,
The threesome stream. Gotta love it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Is that when you have a threesome and then there's like, some golden showers going on the threesome stream?
Oh, I don't know. There are fluids.
Fluids abound.
We'll just leave it there.
Well, no, what you're thinking, see, that's what you truly want to achieve are like Sting sung about are the fields of gold. That's the pinnacle. That's
Yes.
the pinnacle. And so when we walk through fields of gold. Man,
Didn't Trump try that once in Russia or something like that?
Gonna have to wash my shoes afterwards.
I know, right?
Just burn them.
No. So today, we were like, what do we talk about this time, especially like with Eric not here, and, everything. And so we were kind of uncertain about like what to kind of talk about. So we were like, maybe we'll talk about like things that come up in the news, and there's some general stuff, but nothing like super interesting per se. And then while I was on Twitter, holy heck broke loose, and I'm pretty much oblivious to like what other people are talking about in my everyday life, and then even more so on Twitter because I'm old. And then, and then,
Hey, even Twitter is for
what
old
is
people at this
this?
point.
I know, right?
What is this Twitter you're talking about?
Oh, I know, right? Like that's how we know I'm old, is because I don't even call it by its proper name. Like, I'm not changing my ways for you whippersnappers. I'm just going to call it what I've always called it.
The app formerly known as.
Right, there you go.
Now represented by
It is.
Big Bean says
that's-
we should talk about Eric.
Yes. Well, Baked Bean,
Behind
we
his
will.
back, directly to his face.
Yeah.
The problem is I ain't got nothing but good things to say about him. So other
This
than
is
that
true.
he's a
This is
conservative,
true.
but,
I know, right? So, if you're really old, you would have said Facebook. Yeah, I know, right?
No, you would have said MySpace.
Right,
On the MySpaces.
on the live journals. But no, like
Yes, back in the day.
so. But what's really beautiful about what you bring up, Joe, is that it truly has. We just need to change Twitter to Prince, because it seems to have truly followed the path of Prince, of going from Prince to the artist formerly known as Prince, to a symbol.
Right.
And so like that's now Twitter is just a symbol, right? And so
Mhm.
except
It's a letter.
right.
Just a letter. One letter.
That's what letters are, just symbols.
I guess
Right.
I guess Elon had to do something with that website domain that he owned. I mean, with x.com or whatever. He had
At
to figure
least-
something out.
Just
At
sounds like
least
it should
Prince-
be something else.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know.
If he was smart, he would have bought XXX.com. He could have made tons of ad revenue on that.
But no, like at least Prince was smart, because the rationale as to why he did that was that he didn't own any of the work that he did under the title of Prince that was owned by the record labels. And so this was his way of kind of doing like what Taylor Swift is doing right now, where she's going back and since she doesn't own the rights to the songs that she recorded, now she's going back and re-recording them under with the Taylor Swift label, like title or whatever next to it and stuff like that, in order to get so that she gets all of she wrote the song, she did all the performances, all that different stuff, and so she gets the revenue that's associated with that, rather than some producers who did nothing or did very little, we'll say. And so that's why he did the whole symbol, right? So, but no, Elon just did it because I don't know, I like X. I'm gonna name my kid X. I'm gonna name a company X. I'm gonna take a company and then I'm gonna put an X with it.
I'm currently on X.
Right. Yeah. So
Who
so
knows?
anyways. So
You got
I
X
was
kebabs and X stew and X.
he's
Fried
the Bubba.
He's
The Bubba of
X.
Bubba.
as Bubba was to shrimp, Elon is to X.
X soup, X sandwiches.
Hello. How's it going?
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? So
I want
how's
to
it going,
pronounce
Miss
the name. How do we pronounce? I'm horrible.
Avneet Honda?
Okay. Neat. Okay.
Avneet. And then you got Baked Bean. And so we've got two
Dos.
Dos.
viewers. Going with the Sesame Street theme that Elon Musk has gone with Twitter. So
Today's letter is X.
right.
And the number
You know what?
2. Brought to you by the number 2.
Right. I was about to go, Damien, it's not letters. They're not, I was about to mess up your little thing where you're like, brought to you by like,
Unless
or whatever.
we're
when
talking
you're like-
algebra and then X and some numbers. I mean, they all
Right.
kind of go together.
They all fit together. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I was lost.
Yeah.
And so that's where math lost me. I'm like, no. But no, like so I was on X
The other day.
and
Did it
I
feel
saw
good?
this
was a-
article.
It was
Did
a
you
fun
love
time.
everyone on X?
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
Ice cube in the palm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so I saw this reporter for The Intercept, Ken Klippenstein. He had posted an article about the UFO whistleblower. And a lot of people were giving him a hard time about this, and jumping on him about this. And and at first I was like, my first comment was like, this is stupid, blah, 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 like, whatever. And then I actually read his article, because I like his articles. He's a little bit snippy for me. He does these little like jabs, and he feeds into the toxic hodgepodge that is like current political discourse, which is like, you're stupid, no, you're stupid, right? And so he feeds into that because he's does a lot of like quips and stuff, but he's a really like smart journalist, and I really do think most of the time he does an excellent job. So I'm reading this article that he did about the UFO whistleblower, and like I'm like, okay, great, he's gonna propose some counters to what this guy, brought up on the during his congressional interview or whatever. And this is the guy that I had mentioned in the past previously about, like, he had done this release, and it was, like, the biggest thing was like that it talked about how the Pentagon mismanages the money, and like we can't haven't passed an audit with the Pentagon and all this different crap. And I was like, okay, so interesting. Let's hear what's counter to his facts, because also, especially, this is a guy that previously worked with the Young Turks. The Young Turks are very big on, like, corruption, mismanagement of government funds. Like, it's all about the money, kind of Lebowski, that we use. Government is basically a funnel to a way to funnel money back to those people that donate to the Congress and to representatives and different things like that, right? So I'm like, like, so he's gonna like counter this dude. Okay, how so? What is he saying what is he saying about, like, government corruption and mismanagement that is wrong or whatever? And yes, there's the UFO thing, but he even says, I never saw any of it. I never witnessed any of it. I can't go into many details about things. I can, go into greater, behind closed doors. I can, give greater detail because, again, you don't want to get your friends fired and things of that nature. And so, oh my God.
You thought you could do this without me.
Oh!
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I found you out, you cheating bastards.
You ruined our threesome video or stream.
Oh,
So I'm just here for a minute. I just had to crash just to say hi.
Hello.
Sorry, my internet connection dropped out there again for a second.
No worries. No, Eric is the sneaky bandit of the threesome video. Pops in real fast
not
before you
here.
know he's there, and he's gone in a
I'll be
minute.
honest,
And you're like,
I
What
not
was
Really
that?
here, you don't see me. These are not the droids we're looking for.
I don't know, but I was sore afterwards and walking funny for a week.
yeah, we're almost to that 15-minute mark, Scott.
Yeah, there we go.
We can
And
let
so-
it flow.
So,
what are we talking about?
yeah, no, right?
Well, Baked Bean wants to talk about you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he wanted us to say bad things about you.
Yeah, we got nothing but good things.
You
He
guys
wants-
have your chance,
He's
I
a,
don't know. Like, we blew it.
he's a blues fan.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And so I go into this and read this article, and basically it's an article about how the UFO whistleblower had issues with alcohol, suffers from PTSD, and therefore shouldn't be believed with what he said, with what he reported, right? And to like that just absolutely enraged me, because it was like, now I a lot of like the vitriol that against him like started to make more sense, because they were saying that they were trying to, it was a lot of the UFO group, like they were trying to dox him, they were trying to, all these different things. Yeah, it was crazy. It got crazy. And so like, so when I saw this, yet again, I feel like everybody missed the mark. And I was just livid about the way that they portrayed this man, right? Because he's a veteran. He was in the Iraq War. We know many of the Iraq soldiers suffer with PTSD. It's not uncommon for someone who has PTSD or any kind of mental illness to try and self-medicate with alcohol. And then they went around, and then the Young Turks comes along and they do a video about it, and it's it's Ravana, who's one of their guest hosts that's also on Rebel Headquarters, like one of their offshoot channels. It's Cenk Uygur and this guy Montrell, who's like the mayor of of a city in North Carolina. I can't remember which city. And
Yeah, they're all the same in North Carolina.
I'm not that far. I can go pay him a visit.
There you go, right? You know, Scott was not happy with your commentary, buddy. I want you to know that. Yeah, I was about to say,
From
like,
my friend Scott.
so, so here we are about to get to the Young Turks part. Now, this is the part that I was like, Eric's not going to get to hear me actually like rail against the Young Turks, and this is going to be his biggest like regret about the stream.
I love hearing you rail.
I know, right?
Wait, rail,
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
Somebody running a train on
So-
Scott later?
So I know. Oh, who hasn't? Who hasn't? Oh, Joe. Just like I have.
I'm just, hey,
Joe's turning
as
red
the
over
name
there.
says, I'm just the watcher.
He's the guy in the corner. Yeah, get it. Give it to him.
I like that. I like that. I like that. So, anyways, so they get on, and I'm not a big fan of Ravana just because I don't feel like a lot of her reactions are genuine. I think they're a little bit disingenuous. She does a lot of the fake laughing, and then also she's like really snarky. Again, which is similar to King Klippenstein in certain ways, because again, it just feeds into that toxic brew of like, I'm gonna own the other side, and it's just stupid. And so she's then claims him as having alcoholism, which at no point in time was it divulged that he had alcoholism. She said that he was suicidal, which he did, at one point have suicidality and require hospitalization for it. And then described it as having 2 mental breaks. And then, like, Cenk at least was like the voice of reason to some extent, which for Eric is like, that's never the case. It's, I know, right? So that's how bad this is when Cenk is like, I think Eric, if he watched it, he would go, like, I don't agree with him, but of the 3, yeah, he seemed the most like reasonable, right? Because Cenk even like had questions about reporting this and like, is this, but then ultimately sided with, yeah, no, I think it's important because of the fact that if someone has mental health, if someone's not mentally stable, like, should they be, does that mean that we listen to them and everything? Which I'll delve into that like later after you guys get a chance to talk. And so, but ultimately said that he agreed with the fact that this was being reported. And then the other guy, he agreed that it should have been reported. So everybody was like, because they were like, this was a video about should Ken Klippenstein have actually reported this, right? And he posted on Twitter one of his own polls, which said like something like 80% agreed with him that it should have been posted, that should have been reported. And they're like, at least Cenk acknowledged, like, this is on your own feed, dude. Like, your fans are going to be, signing off on this, right? And then, so the Young Turks did their own, and Cenk at least acknowledged that it was with a little bit of like a wink and a nod that like, oh, this is totally different, right? Acknowledging that Ken used to, work there, and that many of the people that follow Ken also follow the Young Turks, and so he at least acknowledged it with a wink and a nod. But yet again, 70% of their poll, which I did vote on, said that it was appropriate to report on and everything. So before I go into this, I'm gonna I'd really like, and Eric, since you have the least amount of time,
Yeah, I gotta go pretty soon.
yeah, like, what are your thoughts about?
Well, knowing very few details, just going off of the impression I'm getting, I don't think it was. I don't think this is. It's not invalid journalism, but it's kind of scummy. It's very William Randolph Hearst kind of impugning a witness without it being an actual court of law. I don't think it's kosher to re-stigmatize.
Can I interrupt one thing too? Because there's a couple of facts. So this guy has a high level security clearance, okay,
Right.
with the government, and then secondly, the PTSD that was reported. So he has PTSD, which was reported in the article that the Young Turks failed to report. He did have an episode years ago with having suicidal ideations after drinking and having to go into the hospital. And then a second time, the police had to, emergency services had to come out because he was drunken and
Disorderly.
unstable. Yeah, like you're drunk and he wasn't admitted that time or anything like that, but guessing that he had like some kind of vague like depressive symptoms or whatever, and that in that meantime, these are things that he is acknowledged that he has had treatment for and gotten stabilized on since. And so when he did his reporting, he was neither drunk nor
If he
mentally
still
unwell.
has
And
that
so-
security clearance, that should be enough.
Right.
If the government is willing to give him the security clearance, and trust me, I'm very familiar with the security clearance process, way more than I should be. They vet the hell out of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I don't think that this should have been reported, honestly.
What about Damien? And again, so neither Eric nor Damien have actually seen the video, but at least from this, and now mind you, I'm reporting. I'm telling it to y'all.
It's like third or fourth hand. But
Exactly. So, but what are your thoughts, Damien?
Honestly, my ADD kicked in when you were halfway through trying to explain
Honesty.
things. I was like, squirrel. So I really don't know the story or have much input at this point because I haven't watched it. So
Okay. Joe, you watched it. Like, you watched the Young Turks video. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on it?
Well, I kind of posed this question to you. I know it's because it was a freedom of information and it was coming from the government, not from a medical provider. My concern was what about the HIPAA rules and whatnot about releasing somebody's
Health information.
I mean,
So,
I know
perfect.
they're public and, because there were incidents with cops and, yada, yada, yada. But if he was institutionalized or whatever, it was why is that being released,
So that is in the police report. When a police officer takes someone to the hospital for involuntary admission, right? That makes it into the police report, right? So at no point in time did they get any healthcare records, right?
Okay.
And so the only thing that he had obtained was the police reporting on it, right? And that's what he FOIA'd and was able to get, right? And so that's why it's not a HIPAA violation, because his providers
Well, I knew
are
it
not
wasn't,
releasing
but it
his
just
healthcare information.
seems like it's to that line,
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it annoyed me, just putting out, like you would mention, just, here we got a gotcha kind of, we're just gonna, I don't know, my brain is farting right now
Squirrel.
on how I want to phrase it. But yeah, it just seemed uncalled for, you know.
Like for me, like
Yeah, I mean, what is
so
the purpose of reporting on this? Like, why do you need to report this? Like, the only reason to
Attacking
do
people's
this
character is what
to
people do.
impugn his character, right?
Yeah.
I know, and that's journalism, unfortunately. But I don't think
Yeah.
that it's kosher. I don't go
That's
along with it. I think it's
the
scummy.
first
Right.
the
Well,
first
even when
thing
they do it to like people I hate, I still think it's
Yeah.
scummy.
Yeah, the first thing they do when there's like somebody that gets, arrested for something, anything, they talk about, oh, he's had 100 different arrests before this and blah 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 blah, and he's mean to his mother and yada yada yada. I mean, they
It just
attack his
perpetuates
character.
this idea of like
Mhm.
of trying people in the court of public opinion, and I always
Mhm.
think that's unwise.
Yeah.
And in this case, what you're doing is you're re-stigmatizing mental illness and using that
Mhm.
as a weapon, as a cudgel.
Mhm.
And that is where I'm like, this is way
That's-
not
yeah.
kosher.
Yeah, that's why
ridiculous.
It's not like he
yeah,
was
that-
committing crimes. If he
Yeah,
was
it's
committing
ridiculous.
a crime, maybe that would be legit. But that's
Yeah.
not what he's doing.
I mean, they could have turned it around and talked about how, military service and being deployed overseas can affect and cause PTSD, and especially if he has suicidal tendencies, in the past, that, this is why we need to help, I mean, there's so many like positive ways of spinning it as opposed to just a character assassination.
right, and so here's like the reason I got so absolutely livid with this is that I'm a healthcare professional, and I don't often talk about like that, a great, like at least not a lot of details because again, I'm I want to protect my license, different things like that. Like, be careful. Like I say a lot of like bombastic things in our podcast, and so.
Mr.
Simply
Bombastic,
fantastic.
Annie Fantastic.
Like
Mm-mm.
as soon as it didn't
Don't
pop
go
in my
too
head
much,
when I
we'll
said
get a
it.
copyright
But
strike.
as soon as Eric said that, it immediately
Mr.
that song popped in my head.
I'll
So-
let you finish your thought, but I gotta go. So I just want to say hi. I got
Okay.
to get my-
Nice seeing you, Eric.
Yes.
Have
Have
fun.
fun with the fam and all that,
Yep.
man.
I will.
All right.
Peace.
Good seeing you again, brother. Glad he was able to witness me like do some railing on the Young Turks. Like and let me I want to say this, like I have been a member of the Young Turks since 2005. I am a massive fan of the Young Turks. I have like my name is actually in their building. Like my name and my daughter's name are in the building on a plaque. Like I am a big fan of the Young Turks. Like, so this is not me like, oh, I
He's a
hate the Young
donor.
Turks. Oh, dude, like I,
Are you thinking of pulling out your
Donor
support?
class.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I just,
Not
like,
even temporarily.
no, like, no, I express like, at least on Twitter, I express my concerns and I might actually send an email or whatever. But like, I'll probably even link this video to like here's my YouTube video on it, right? No, that's just going to be too long. So, but like, cause I want them to actually hear it. But no, like I'm a mental health provider. I have worked in mental health. I actually got hired. Like I started in mental health on 9/11. And I have worked at, in my current level, we'll say, for the past 10 years, for the past decade. I have my own mental health, like my own business in mental health. Like I am absolutely an advocate for my clients, and for people. And, I don't have a problem saying that I, have gotten treatment for my own like mental health and everything. Because it doesn't mean that like it's an illness, right?
Mhm.
And so,
It's like,
like,
getting mad at somebody because they're diabetic or something. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, like, and again, you get low, like hypoglycemic, your behavior can get bizarre. Your judgment can be severely impaired. We don't say you can't have, like, I'm jumping the gun. Like, I was livid. I posted this to you guys about 2 hours ago, and I've had 2 hours to calm down a bit. So I am much calmer than I was previously. This to me was disgusting. Like, this is a full-on shame on Ken Klippenstein, shame on the Intercept, which I like the Intercept, shame on the Young Turks. That includes Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian. She's not in the video, okay? But like, she is the head of their news, department. I love Anna. Like, I have watched her grow up through her adulthood. She's an impressive person to me. Like, Joe, you heard me, like, you and I had that discussion about, like, how people were attacking her about some of her views, and I absolutely defended her on that. Like, I will, like, go to the woodshed if I feel that they are in the right. But on this, like, and Ravana, like, shame on her, but I don't expect much more from her. Like, the issue that I have with Ravana is that she's really, really toxic, and it seems like she's doing it for clout. She reminds me of some of, like, I will not be surprised if I later see her go the course of either, like, a Jimmy Dore or Dave Rubin or whatever, because it feels as if she does, like, whatever she does in order to get the clicks, to get the views, to draw the attention, things like that. She's just snarky for the sake of being snarky, and it's not witty. It's almost like the guy that's I don't know if you guys know the Surfs. I may be talking like a foreign language to you two, but like Lance of the Surfs, he's also part of this the
So
communist
Eric just
mafia or something.
texted us in the private chat. I got to hear Scott talk shit about TYT. My life is complete.
Oh, and he's not even gonna get to hear the best of it. So, but yeah, there you go.
I'm sure he'll
There you
hear
go.
it later. He can,
Yeah,
he can
yeah.
watch it. You know?
Yeah, this one he'll want to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really disappointed. I am incredibly disappointed because, like,
You sound disappointed, Scott. Are you disappointed?
I'm like, okay, wait, we're 30 minutes in. All right. I am fucking livid. Fuck that video. Fuck that article. I am fucking livid. So
Are you upset?
I am
Are you let down?
furious.
Possibly
So,
even disheartened.
there's a pill for that. But I can't take it because then I can't go before Congress or else I'll get discredited.
I was gonna say, does that pill have like erectile dysfunction issues or something? Or
Because then Ken Klippenstein will come after me, and so will Cenk Uygur, and so will Ravana, definitely. Fucking A. But don't you fucking attack her on her shit, because she'll get really defensive about it, because that's not fair. Don't talk about the shit that she can't control, which I agree with, but man, does that not seem to go both ways. So anyways, this dude is not fluidly psychotic. He doesn't have, In no way, shape, or form was it ever divulged in that article that he has delusions of grandeur, paranoid, paranoid delusions, like delusions of persecution.
We all have delusions of grandeur. That's normal.
Right. That's just being a guy.
Exactly.
I'm the best you've ever had.
Every time I look down and he's looking back up at me, it's like, oh yeah, delusions of grandeur right there.
But no, no delusions of persecution, no like schizophrenia, no schizoaffective disorder, like no psychotic disorders at all, right? Where you have a disconnect from your experience versus reality, right? What he has is PTSD. It can come with dissociations, right? Where you have intrusive experiences from your past that come and even in extreme cases can perceive where it's like you're in like that past moment again, right? Like when the guy jumps under under the table at the restaurant talking about Charlie, right? Or talking about like the war or whatever, like and that the bombs are coming, right? And so like you can have those experiences. However, this guy has been treated, and at no point in time was that ever divulged that he ever had dissociative experiences like that. You don't have so there's no like actual like challenging of his ability to reality test, right? Then they claim on multiple occasions the clip that he has alcoholism. Nowhere was that ever divulged that he was ever diagnosed with alcoholism.
Okay, so yeah, just because he's gotten drunk and disorderly at times does not lead to
right?
Yeah.
Does not mean that you have alcoholism. Like, I want to hear Ravana say she has never gotten drunk. Because if she has, then she has alcoholism, apparently. I want to hear that she's never gotten drunk and it's never affected her emotions. Because if she has, then like where she got belligerent or argumentative or really emotional and sad or drunk dialed a partner, like I want to hear this, because if she has, then obviously she has alcoholism, right? By her judgment, by her statement, by her measuring, right? Which is not true. I would never make that claim, right? This was alcohol abuse, which is not uncommon when you have mental illness, especially because we all have maladaptive ways of dealing with emotions, whether we have a mental illness or not. But then you throw in a mental illness and the agony of a mental illness. Like, we're going to do what we can to get out of that pain.
Yeah,
exactly. It's maladaptive coping, right?
It's just one other way to get away. So.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and again, in the video, she brings up like she has family history with in her family with family members that have alcoholism. And so whether this is more of like a projection of her own emotional like issues that allows her to kind of like make some of these claims or make some of these assertions like that are completely unfounded in this gentleman's situation. But when you have depression, and PTSD has a depressive component to it, right? I kind of describe it like this. PTSD has depression, anxiety, and a trauma component to it, right? So it's like a combination of like these, for people to kind of understand it, like these three little like kind of components that are wrapped into each other, right? And the symptoms are associated with these kind of like breakdowns, right? So part of depression or part of PTSD are depressive episodes. And then you take alcohol. Anybody know what classification alcohol falls under?
Depressant.
Depressant?
It is a depressant. Mm-hmm. So then what do depressants do?
They make you more depressed.
Right? So if you're not feeling good and you're feeling depressed, not even just not feeling good, when you're feeling depressed and you take a depressant,
it makes you more depressed.
Which can lead to thoughts of suicide.
Yeah, suicidal thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he went to treatment for that. Right? And so they describe it as And on there, and this is what I got. This is another thing I got really livid about. On the poll that they posted, it described it as a psychiatric breakdown. When you hear a psychiatric breakdown, what do you think of? What kind of behaviors do you think?
Somebody having like a psychotic break, like schizophrenia or something like that. You know, going nutso, schizo, crazy. That
right?
Kind, you know,
right?
Seeing pink elephants and things like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thinking I am God.
Right.
Aren't you though, Joe?
But Joe is.
Only
See, that's
in my view of reality.
And ours too.
Kent,
So.
stop touching yourself, Kent. Sorry, had to throw that in.
No, right.
Why? Enjoy the show.
Enjoy. Hey, Kent.
I know
if you
it's
wanna
fun. Kent,
remember,
but please,
the Watcher.
You're scaring the angels.
No, Kent, if you want to touch yourself to this,
Oh yeah.
enjoy yourself, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't gonna.
Oh,
I'm not gonna yuck your yum. I'm not gonna yuck your yum, Kent. And so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. $240 worth of pudding. Oh
And,
yeah.
and Baked Bean, I am absolutely going to come to everything that you have posted. I've got to get this out, okay, brother?
It's gonna come to you, Baked Bean. Watch out.
I'm gonna.
It's gonna come to you hard.
Bathe him and bring him to me.
I just noticed that comment he sent.
I know. Just wait.
Oh, you just saw that? I thought I said something about it a minute ago. Maybe I just thought I was gonna say something about it. Oh man, with a broken arm, no less. With a broken arm.
Oh, that's determination. Nothing
Who
gets in the
hell
way of
slaps
Baked Bean.
some other guys, you know what? That's just rude. Come on.
Don't yuck a man's young.
Exactly.
anyways-
If a guy's in the shower with a couple other, people, you don't, go smacking them in the pee-pee, or whatever.
Or a couple of other pairs of
pee-pee.
people, like
Yeah.
Don't smack
Leave it
him in the
alone.
pee-pee.
don't smack the
Do
pee-pee.
not smack the pee-pee.
Don't smack the pee-pee. But no, like so I just like you think when you hear
His name is
psychiatric
Pepe.
breakdown.
You got enough, Pepe.
Wait,
I had to bring it back. I'm sorry. It's
You
been
had
a
to, you
while
had to.
since I had that one out.
that's that's an oldie but a goodie, man.
Yeah.
So like when you phrase it that way, you're absolutely you're absolutely suggesting that it's a psychotic break, right? And then again, and they also said like police had to come for a mental health breakdown, right? Like that, and then afterwards, like she corrected herself and said like, okay, he wasn't admitted into the hospital twice. He had 2 mental health breakdowns, and the police had to come, but he was only admitted to like once. And they're like, "Aren't we the fairest show on TV?" And it's like, no, that's not the fairest show on TV. The fairest show on TV would say he had a medical crisis, right? Because psychiatric illnesses are part of healthcare and part of medicine, right? So you want to be ultimately fair? He had 2 medical crises where emergency services had to come, but was only admitted to the hospital 1 time. That is the fairest show on TV. If you want to go a little bit further, I could understand, okay, maybe that's too fair. Okay. He had 2 mental health crises. The emergency services had to come both times, but he was only hospitalized for 1. Okay. And that one being suicidal ideations. Does that mean that you are like psychotic or unable to like lose your job? And then she brings up like that people have lost their security clearances for smoking weed in the past. I know multiple people with high level security clearances that have smoked weed in the past. Now, mind you, there may be some biases, right? Racial biases, different things like that, like in everything. Sure. Like, could it be that someone was lost their the security clearance? Is it outside of the realm of possibility that someone lost their security clearance because they smoked weed? I mean, it could be, but the government, like, really is, like, they're very, like, they have gotten, like, a lot of this stuff very, like, numeric based, like, not numeric based, but, like, formulaic, to try and get bias out of there. Like, when they're hiring, when the government's doing hiring, all this different stuff. Like, and so, like, the thing that most often gets you, like, not getting a security clearance is if you lie, right? So it could be like, yeah, it was the fact that you smoked pot that you didn't get it. That could be part of it, but the other part could be that you lied about smoking pot and therefore you didn't get the security clearance, right? Because if you lie, that's the biggest thing, right? In the video, they bring up, like, if you don't do, if you have adultery, you could lose your security clearance and things like that. Right, because you lied. Because the biggest part of it is, are you a liar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you lying?
Liar. Yeah.
All right, Henry.
I know.
Sorry, my inner Henry Rollins is coming out.
And so those, like,
song.
lying is the biggest thing that will get rid of your security clearance, right? Now, mind you, again, I'm not saying that it couldn't be, right? So maybe. But that doesn't mean that, hey, because he got drunk that led and worsened his depressive symptoms, therefore he should lose it because these other people lost it for smoking weed. That doesn't justify, like, both of those things. Like, just because this person lost it for weed doesn't mean this person should lose it for alcohol, right? Both of those shouldn't have an impact so long as it's, like, not a massive issue, right? As long as it's not causing, like, some sort of clearance issue or security issue. And so, like, to equate that really infuriated me because I can't remember exactly how she framed it, but if you listen to her framing of it, like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is even more disgusting because she's throwing him under the bus because why does he have a security clearance, but these people don't? So I'm going to throw him under the bus and just shame him because these people lost theirs. Like, that's not getting justice. That's just shaming him in a different, like, for the same thing that you're upset that these people got shamed about. Like, again, where is this a value? This is not a value. What this is I'm upset that my value is that this shouldn't affect it. But then you turn around and try to make it so that it affects it, saying that he shouldn't have a security clearance because he has a mental illness, which doesn't negate your ability to have a security clearance. Sorry, I'm raising my voice. Nor does...
It's okay, you're livid.
Nor does having, drinking alcohol to excess or even using a substance to excess. Neither one of those should. So I think, like, if the people lost it because they smoked weed, they should be allowed to have it, right? And if this guy has it because he had gotten drunk to the point that it worsened his mental illness that he has because we fucking were in a 20-year war, then we should honor that veteran and say, yes, he should be allowed to have his security clearance because what he's experiencing is a direct result for him serving our fucking country with, and so
Preach, brother, preach.
And so to sit there and to shame him, right? And to, as Eric say, worsen the stigma of mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Both Ken Klippenstein, Ken Klippenstein, The Intercept, The Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, and Ravana all fucking did a disservice to mental health and especially men coming and reaching out for help. Reaching out for help. Because what this shows is, like, if you go to the hospital like you're supposed to, if I had a fucking heart attack, where the fuck am I supposed to go? The hospital. If I'm having a medical crisis, where am I supposed to go? The fucking hospital. But now you're going to shame me for going to the hospital to treat my health care because I'm in a medical crisis? Oh, fuck you.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. They're way in the wrong. Way in the wrong.
yeah.
For bringing that up, putting it front and center, and implying that there was something wrong with it. You know, go ahead.
And it's not even like they didn't even make the original mistake. Like what infuriates me with the Young Turks is that they reviewed, like Ken Klippenstein did. I always want to say, like, I'm not sure if it's Ken Klippenstein or Klippenstein, right? It's almost like Young Frankenstein. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. My name is Frankenstein.
And so, like, like, yeah,
I love
so,
that
like
movie.
every
It's a
time I
great
say,
movie.
I know every time I'm saying his name, that pops into my head, right? You knew where I was going with that. So like he did it first, right? His editors okayed it. They should have been like, should we? I don't know, man. Right? But then they made the mistake. So this organization made the mistake, and people argued about it, and people discounted it because the UFO group on Twitter were railing about his posting because they viewed it as a violation of his HIPAA rights. They're like, this is a violation of HIPAA, right? Which Joe was like, isn't this? Because it's the government releasing his healthcare, right? But the government didn't release his healthcare. The government released a police report,
which is part of public records, which is part of transparency
Exactly.
of the government. So
right.
Yeah.
And so, and part of their rationale as to why they brought him to the hospital for admission is because he has a history of mental illness, had been drinking, all that stuff, right? And all of that has to be in their report, because otherwise they could theoretically be sued for false imprisonment, right? And all that different stuff. So they have to have some justifications, right?
And the actual, and I get it, because the actual like mental side, like what he was being admitted for and
Right.
what they came up with, none of that's being disclosed. Just that he was admitted to this facility, and that's it.
And that he was having suicidal
Not even
ideation.
which facility? Yeah.
Which is their justification for the involuntary admission, right? From the police's perspective, because they are not mental health experts, right?
Yeah.
So they have to use these different things, and they're allowed a lot
They
more
have
grace,
to use
right?
the tools they have available.
Exactly.
To them. Yeah.
Right. Joe, what were you going to say?
I was just thinking, I mean, I know it was the freedom, release of information, whatnot, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think from like a police perspective. I understand they need a document, but at the same time, is like it's kind of a in-system record. It makes
Real
sense.
quick, Baked
but
Bean's
if it's
leaving,
being,
so I'm going to say goodbye to Baked
Oh,
Bean. Bye, Baked
bye,
Bean.
Baked Bean.
Have a good night. I know it's late there.
Yeah. Much love, brother.
Yeah. But my like, couldn't certain things just, for me, because it's yet again so close to that line with HIPAA thing, certain things just be redacted? But I understand, because they still redact even when you get asked for, when you get the FOIA and all that stuff. I mean, to me, that's like a personal issue that, yes, the cops had to help me with, but does it need to be out there when the police report goes public?
I don't disagree with you on that either, Joe. That's a good point.
I don't disagree with you either, because
they could just keep it as simple, like in-house, they know
but
this, but when it goes out, medical attention was sought. Done.
well, that would be changing.
No, that's what gets released. Yeah, but I'm just, that part can be like left, but like details of, because he was having a PTSD
so
episode,
they wouldn't be able to do that. All they would be able to do is to mark out, right, to redact, to black out, like what was being
right,
copied and delivered, right? They wouldn't be able to go in and rewrite it or rework
this is
it, right?
Yeah, this is the fun thing about life. There's so many like.
So
And
complications.
really, honestly, it all comes down to the stigma of mental illness and the fact that, you know, we have a negative view of people that have to go and get, you know, stabilized in those situations. Whereas when it's a medical issue, like somebody, like you said, you know, having a diabetic episode or a, you know, heart attack or whatever, it's like it's all medical in the end. We're just, you know, soft, gooey creatures with electrochemical, you know, shit going on, and that
Mhm.
stuff sometimes doesn't work right. So, you know,
Bags
it's like
of
going to a
mostly
mechanic with your
water.
car. You know, sometimes it's the brakes or something mechanical, like a, you know, a rod or a piston issue or, you know, transmission, whatever. And sometimes it's the fucking computer and the wiring, you know, it's all
Mhm.
part of the same system. And so is this. So why is there
Here's-
that stigma?
here's what I want to post,
Mhm.
or here's the question I want to pose, and I would love if the Young Turks would like, I would love if the Young Turks would have me on to discuss this.
That's
first
an
off,
ask right there. That's a big
That
fat
is-
ask. Yeah.
that is a
Young
really,
Turks.
that is a
wants to be on your show.
that is a Scott level.
Yeah.
That's how big that is. That's a Scott sized
In fact,
ask.
we would probably all enjoy going on your show for just a moment. But
Right,
Scott
yeah.
especially
Oh.
would make his entire year, maybe his life. He might even name his next child after you.
but yeah, I
If
know,
he has
right?
another child.
Especially if you cuss them out on.
Actually, I'm the one
Eric's
that's got the
gonna have
loosest,
that.
you know, anyway.
Yeah. So no, but no, like, because again, I like the reason that I said, like, I would love for them to bring me on because of the fact that I'm a mental health right. I'm a mental health professional, right? To kind of discuss this about why, you know, why this is problematic, the way that they're framing it. So
Do your patients think you're
these things-
professional? They? Yeah.
Actually, yes, I have
I'm fucking with you.
5-star reviews.
Nice.
Hells
Nice.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah.
I've got patients like calling me up, old patients trying to track me down so they can get help and get into my practice. So I'm like, so yes, actually, yes, my clients actually do appreciate me a great deal.
Nice.
And so like,
They're not the only ones that appreciate you, Scott.
right.
That's
So,
not
but no,
the only
like-
thing I appreciate about you, Scott.
You've told me that so many times.
Is
I
that
like,
what you appreciates about me, Derry?
as you can tell, I get so flushed. I get so flushed when you bring this up because I just love it. I do make some magic. That's all I can say. The things I can do with this tongue. No, no, I'm sorry.
He is
So-
a master.
so-
Nice and
I will straight
slow.
up say he is a master.
The alphabet is
I've-
a beautiful
I've
thing.
watched
No.
from a distance, from
No.
the corner. Oh yeah.
Next
get
to
it.
Joe.
Oh yeah.
But the reason, because one of the things I like, if I had a chance to ask him, is like, I love John Fetterman. I think I'm so glad he's a senator. I think he's an excellent senator. I think he was an excellent candidate. I'm not sure if you remember who John Fetterman was, but he is the guy who looks like he would be one of our very close friends. He is giant. He has a beard. Okay. You guys know. And so like if you guys look up John Fetterman, you'd go like, oh yeah.
I know who he is. He's, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm saying anyone watching this, if they watch this
Oh.
and they see
God,
this, they
I'm
go
sorry,
like,
yeah.
he'd fit in with them. So at least on looks alone. But like, he had a stroke. During his campaign, he had a stroke. Right?
You were
And then
saying was like he was dead, but he is, because he's not dead.
To what?
You were saying was about John Fetterman instead of is. Anyway, just keep going what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
He is he is their senator currently, right? And he had a stroke, right?
Mhm.
And so, should he step down for that? The Young Turks would say nope, right? And cognitively, it doesn't impact him. He's gotten tested, all that different stuff, and he's been really, really great as a senator, right? It hasn't impacted his work. The only thing is that he needs some assistance. So, like, if he was deaf, he would need some, supportive assistance and stuff like that, right? So
if
he could
had
hear.
bad, if he was paralyzed, he would need a wheelchair. That's assistance.
Exactly.
So,
right. Exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
So he needs some assistance. So because he has to read, because listening to the words doesn't always quite comprehend yet. He hasn't gotten that up and working again. But reading it, he completely understands it. All that different stuff. So absolutely. The Young Turks would say, absolutely, he should be their senator. He's a great senator, right? All that stuff. And they've said this. Many on the Young Turks have said this. Well, he had to go to the hospital for suicidal ideations.
So did he? I gotta ask, did he pass the Trump mental fitness test? The person, woman, man, because
He did, in fact, say person.
If he did, then there isn't a single person out there that needs to say a single word about anything, because Trump got away with it. So therefore,
No, he didn't. Trump didn't get away with it. Trump passed it.
Yes, he passed. With
He
flying
passed
colors.
it.
He
With
aced
flying
that
colors.
test. So if Fetterman can
said,
do the person, woman, man, camera, TV, then you know what? I give him a pass. More power
Absolutely.
to you.
Rightfully so.
I bow down to that man. He is
Rightfully
perfectly
so.
mentally fit to be the president of the United States, apparently. So
Right.
who cares if he had a stroke? If he could do the person, woman, man, camera, TV.
John
test.
Fetterman.
So.
John Fetterman had to go. He absolutely passed the person, woman, man, camera, TV.
See, even you're having trouble with that.
Well, I just had to say the next two. I didn't have trouble. I just had to say the next two.
You're just
I would have passed it.
Yeah.
John Fetterman passed it. Trump apparently passed it. Somehow. Absolutely. We should all
with flying
be
colors. Even
we should all be president right now. And
Yes.
so, the three of us combined unite with our wonder powers and form of super president. No, so
with
like
our powers combined.
Damien's bringing the flagpole.
there you go.
It's the CN Tower. Thank you. But
Yeah, but we're
But so John Fetterman had suicidal ideations based on what they're saying about this whistleblower and what they're saying about the credibility of this whistleblower. Apparently, John Fetterman needs to resign per the Young Turks because John Fetterman had a stroke that led to him having suicidal ideation. So therefore, he's not credible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Young Turks
wanna
would
know,
say,
have they ever had suicidal ideations?
well, I don't want to know. I don't
No,
need to
but
know.
I'm just saying, if
Yeah,
if they're feeling comfortable enough to put somebody else's shit out there, put your shit out first.
Put your shit out there too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we put our shit out there.
Mhm.
Like Damien.
Stinks.
Yeah, I know.
It was
Damien
huge.
wept. Damien wept on our
Hey,
show.
don't bring that shit up. That's in the past, man.
No, that's powerful. That's strength right there. Absolutely, I'll bring it up, and because I don't bring it up in shame, I bring it up as strength because you are powerful, man, and you have the ego strength to be able to be open like that, right?
Mhm.
And to be vulnerable like that. So
Yeah,
I'm pointing to you, and no one that's looking at my camera or looking at my video can see what I'm doing. They're like, what is his hand doing? I'm pointing to you. I'm pointing to you, Damien. Like you have so absolutely, man. You like he's down here. So like you have this, and so you've done.
I'm the bottom today instead of the top for some reason.
I know, right? So that's all right. But no, there we go.
You fixed it.
Much better.
Hey, Joe, how's it going?
And so, oh wait, I got to look this way. So,
We're doing the
we
Brady
got a
Bunch
visitor
thing.
in our
Brady
podcast.
Bunching. Yeah. Morris. So that's fair enough, right? If you're gonna if it's okay to bring up his, let's bring up your credibility, right? And so I bring up John Fetterman just because of the fact that he's in government, right? I support him. I don't care that he's had a stroke because he's been able to show that he's been able to bounce back from it and continue to do the work. He's had suicidal ideations, and I don't care, because that doesn't mean that he can't do his job, right? Like, that doesn't mean that that he's not cognitively sound, that he's not with reality. He's not able to do reality testing, right? That's a consequence of having a stroke. Like, it's not uncommon, right? There's treatments for that. Just like, look, I'm not saying this UFO whistleblower is correct. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, everything that he put out there is correct. I would love reporting on whether or not it's correct or not, but we didn't get that. We got a personal attack based on, and where they attacked was his mental health, not his mental well-being, but his mental health. And those are two different things, right? Like, Young Turk's going after, now her name, what's the senator out of California? Feinstein. Like, they've gone after Feinstein. And I think, and not necessarily her, but like the staff and the DNC for propping her up, right? Yes, I'm using my hands a lot right now.
Yes, Eric, we're still talking.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes.
And so, like, they go after Feinstein's staff for propping her up because there's real cognitive concerns for her, right? That need to be evaluated and determined if, like, she's actually, you know, fit to stand office, right? This is not that.
Well, she's also, like, extraordinarily old, and
yeah,
like,
she's 9.
Didn't she die 10 years ago, and they just, like, you know, keep her animated somehow?
Weekend at Bernie style her.
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm not being ageist.
I know.
Seriously.
Yeah, we're not putting. Yeah. No, we're just like, yeah, but no, like this guy. Look, you can disagree with him and his reports on the UFOs, but man, like, at least put some evidence about it. Like, show us where it's not accurate, right? Let us know, like, because we want to know this crap. Like, we want to hear about this. We want to know that it's not credible based on, you know, the evidence, not on like this mudslinging and you know, trying to shame a guy for having mental health issues after serving in the most horrific thing a human being can serve in. Sorry, I've had a really long tirade and I have talked a lot, but I'm so fucking.
I completely
livid about
agree
this.
with you, Eric, that we need to. It's time for her to be done legislating. But
Did he say that?
yeah,
Yes.
Feinstein had to relinquish her own power of attorney, and
Yes. Oh,
supposed to believe she can legislate. No, I don't. I don't think that she should be legislating anymore. I think and she is stepping down, from what I understand. So she's not pursuing re-election or whatever.
No. See, that's different.
Okay.
So that's different. So Nancy Pelosi wants Adam Schiff to be Feinstein's replacement because Adam Schiff will carry Nancy Pelosi's water. But Gavin Newsom has said that he is most likely going to appoint an African American woman, which most likely means Barbara Lee, who is running against Adam Schiff. It's Adam Schiff, Barbara Lee, and Katie Porter that are running for the Senate position, Feinstein's Senate position. So she is not stepping down. She's not seeking re-election, which then, but again, that should not be. She should absolutely step down so that one can be appointed, so that California can be represented.
Eric, I was going there too. I really was gonna.
I was gonna say that.
I didn't want to interrupt Scott. He was
It's
on a
not
run.
the
He was
water
on a roll
Scott's
there.
talking about that
Yeah,
Adam Schiff really
I'm
wants
not-
to
yeah.
hold.
I'm not.
Nancy
That's some
Pelosi's
scary-
water.
scary thoughts right there.
Just
No.
like this.
No, her water is actually down there next to the. It's in the ice cream refrigerator that she has.
Oh, I gotta take 5 minutes, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay, go for it. But yeah, so that's just my Like I really
So
do find that disgusting.
I'm confused by your statement you just made. Ice cream Are you trying to tell me there's a frozen cream pie somewhere?
The
I mean,
whoopie pie.
I know it's frigid. But
No,
I
no, no.
didn't. No.
Pelosi's cream pie is
Frigid
always
there.
no. Pelosi's cream pies are always a whoopie pie, and so because you always say whoopie with that.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Uh,
To anyone watching this, we're so sorry. This is why it's the dumpster fire conversation. Sorry. So, yeah, no. So like, did I sound off?
That's the proper
Eric?
response, Eric.
Justifiably.
Yes.
Yep.
You're not here to keep us in line.
I know, right?
Getting further and further. We're way off track and we're deep into the gutter at this point.
So Joe, did I sound like
Did you sound
radical with what I was like stating?
No.
Did it sound okay?
No. It's the same problem I have with a lot of the I guess I don't know if I want to use conservative, but they'll use that term. But the right wing talk shows on the radio, they'll go through the same thing because like Joe Biden has a stutter, right? That he's mentally incompetent, you know. It's frustrating, it's annoying. Is like, is there not like more important things that we could be discussing than that, you know? And it's kind of why I've always just kept myself like non-affiliated with a party, but you know, it's just I mean, both sides have their freaking problems, and
Yeah.
you know, and this is just going to wind up being fodder for, you know, the right wing, you know, going, look how they treat people, and they'll ignore their own shit that they do it, you know, but they'll use it and, you know, what is it? Radical and
So you mean radical in the extremist
totally
sense?
radical, man.
Or radical in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sense?
Yes. But
yeah, McConnell had his own senior moments also. Like,
yeah, I mean there was that pause moment or whatever it was that he had where he just kind of, you know, I saw it like pop up and I was like, okay, you know, if there's, you know, I don't need to know all the details or whatever, you know, on what caused that, you know.
I think after the age of
as I say, after and not it's not to be ageist, but you know, after a certain age, you know, maybe, you know, mental you know, checking one's mental evaluations, as in checking your mental faculties, making sure that, you know, you can do the job that the people have elected you to do.
Right.
You know, maybe it should be a precursor before getting put on a ballot, you know, as opposed to getting elected first, then, you know, realizing that we've put somebody who, you know, can't do the job.
I think it's like when you're talking about a government, like an elected official, I think it's perfectly fine to put in a stipulate. I think that's one of the areas that it is perfectly fine. And Eric, I don't know how Eric would feel about this, but like to say your responsibility, you are stepping up to have service to something greater than just yourself, right? If you want to serve yourself, go start a business,
Mhm.
right? Go start a business. How about it? Like, I'm completely in favor of that. Go start a business. Go make your mark, right? But if you're gonna serve an elected, position, you have an obligation of service to the greater good, right?
Mhm.
And part of that is we can't recall you. Like, there's certain countries that allow and permit for a recall vote, and or for certain states or counties and things like that. But
Yes.
yeah, like Eric, yeah. But no, like I I think that part of, like, in order to getting on a ballot, that your medical records need to be posted. And if you are above the age of 65, which is the age of being identified as geriatric, when you're geriatric, you have greater health risks. So therefore, having your medical health there along with cognitive health and cognitive functionality, because we know that you can't, like, once you're elderly, you can start to have cognitive decline, right? And so we don't really worry too much about physical decline in the sense of, like, okay, well, how's your 40? Well,
Yeah, I don't.
you're a senator. You're not going to be running a bunch. So we don't care what your 40 mile,
Yeah,
40 yard dash is.
putting out their medical stuff. I don't necessarily know about that, but I think an evaluation should be done in a pass or fail from a neutral party position, right? Their medical records don't need to be released, but it's
You know
just
what?
just give it a pass or fail. That good to go, not good to go.
Right. Look, I don't discount that, right? Like, I would be fine with that too. But, then here's my issue with that, is that I do feel like there is concerns of transparency, right? And because, like, again, if you have a medical illness that, let me phrase it this way. If you have an illness that could interfere with your ability to do the job, that should have to be released. If you have cancer, that should be released.
I mean, I see the thing. I get it. But at the same time, it's that barrier of privacy that we think we should have. Right. I know
Well,
you're kind of in a way waiving it because you're saying I am choosing to become a public servant
that's right.
and serve the people. I get that. But at the same time, it's like I don't need to know all the
I don't need to know his blood
difficulties.
pressure. No. I don't need to know the blood pressure. I don't need to.
Cancer is a very important thing. I mean, or very tough thing, and it's people can still go on doing things
Sure.
with cancer,
Sure.
Now if it's like a brain tumor that's affecting
Wait.
cognitive
Okay,
abilities,
wait. No,
It's not a tumor.
wait.
no, but that yet again gets to when they have an evaluation, is it a pass or a fail? I don't need to know.
But again, what's the determination for pass or fail? Because if you're telling me,
They are not meeting the cognitive
cancer
requirements
is not
for the
a simple
job.
thing. Like,
I
cancer,
understand it's not a
cancer-
simple thing.
and cancer will interfere, very much can interfere with a person's ability to do the job.
It can.
When you're laid out vomiting and feeling sick and having no energy because you're being, undergoing
And some
chemo,
some can still continue to work.
sure, But then that's where the person can say, "Here's the doctor." Like,
And I
the doctor
understand
can say,
too, the
"This is what
certain
our
kind,
expectation."
certain kind, it can spread. It can go from one part of your body to the brain to. I get that.
And
But
so
at the
I would
same
say,
time, it's like I would still want to respect the privacy of my elected officials the same way I would with a everyday citizen. I just want to know when they get the checkup, whether or not they can do the job or not. I don't need to know the details on why not. If they fail, I don't
again,
care.
okay.
They're
Then how do
not
you
going to be
how do you
doing the job.
How do you define what can do the job or not?
All politicians are brain cancer. Uh,
A 5th grade history class. How about that, Scott? Can they pass the 5th grade history test?
That's
I
too
mean,
hard.
at this point,
That's too hard for
whether
most-
they
Yeah,
can
Trump
do
would
the
have failed
job
that
is
one.
like, we
No,
don't
that's
give
too low to
IQ tests, and
Mhm.
So then
it's,
what I'm asking is what do you mean by? Like, you're the one that's saying, like, whether it's a pass or fail. So then that's a
to me, that
really
would be
rigid
something
bar.
that would need to be discussed at length in a medical professional conference. They have to discuss this. They have to
I'll tell
work
you
it
right
out.
now. I'll tell you right now that a lot of medical professionals would not want that responsibility of saying,
We-
like,
Oh no,
they
because
can or can't.
to me it's crossing an ethical line, right? The
We
same
already
thing with,
have the test, though. It's person, woman, man, camera, TV. Come on, people.
can you
It's not
name
hard.
5 things
No.
that are in front of your face right now?
But Joe, what you're trying to, like, what I don't think that you're understanding is that, like, a medical professional is not a soothsayer, so they can't say whether or not the person can do the job or not. And most will say, like, this is cancer. So
Then
that's
we're just going in circles, and this shouldn't,
No.
regardless of what their mental capacity is. We can't leave it up to the medical professionals because they're not a soothsayer. So we'll just let them try it out, and if we feel they can't do the job, then we won't vote for them again.
But Joe, you're saying the cognitive functioning, okay? But I'm saying that there's more things too, right, than just the cognitive function.
Yeah, do they potentially have a higher risk for heart attack? Yes. Okay. So does that disqualify them now as well?
I don't think that should. But if they have
can it affect them doing their job?
Joe, here's the question. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Your answer means that the doctor should determine whether they can or can't do the job. Okay?
Their doctor?
The doctor.
Okay.
The doctor. Okay?
Or team of doctors.
Right. That the doctors then.
I'm just trying to take it out of one person's hands, put it in the, I don't know.
But again, there's a lot
We're
of
just
people
spitballing ideas. I'm not
right. I know.
sold on anything. I'm just kind of I'm making a devil's advocate thing here with privacy.
But hear me out though. With my situation, they're getting a particular diagnosis. Now, the doctor will say, "This is what I have found you to have. I am obligated to report this if you continue on in the race. Do you want to continue on in the race, or do you want to step down?" Because maybe you're right. Maybe they're like, "I don't want this getting out." And then they can step down. It doesn't mean, like, if they're not running, if they're no longer running, then they don't have to have it released, right? But if they choose to continue to run at that point, then that independent doctor or team of doctors has an obligation to report it to the mass. And then the public can determine if this is something they want to vote on the person for.
So by agreeing to run, sign off on a HIPAA waiver saying that this medical information will be released out to the public. It's your choice.
Right.
And so as
it doesn't mean that the doctor just
as part of the
regardless.
as part of the test for getting on the ballot, Now we do the medical screening. The doctor presents the person with their results and say,
Right.
if you wish to continue on, this is what's going out to
the public.
the local paper,
Right.
whatever, or what's going to be posted on. I mean, I can kind of get behind that if there is, but you know, I don't know.
Because I like, again.
Sorry.
Because again,
Yes, he is.
that's what I'm saying. Like, because I don't think like we should just be divulging people's medical, but I also think that
Yeah,
You're-
this was
when
it.
you-
It would be a
just like-
process.
just
to-
like, my feeling is that if you're going to serve in government, like as far as an elected official, right, where you're overseeing many different industries, many different like laws, all these different, and also if you're going to oversee the courts too, right? If you're in the courts, right? So if you're president and part of the executive branch, if you're in all honesty, I think if you're in government, if you're working for government, there's a lot of benefits to working in government. But if you're working in government, you should not have individual socks, right? Because you're going to be working with industries that could affect your financial
I
benefits,
agree, but
right.
and your finances are put in a trust. It's
Exactly.
outside of your control and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't need to know what all your finances were.
Exactly.
I misheard you there
So
for a
what-
second. I thought you said you shouldn't have individual socks, and I was like,
I heard it
life is
too,
too
but I
short
was
for
letting it.
socks
I
that
let it
match,
go. I was like, I mean, if he wants
I
to show
understand.
up with a purple and a green one, I'm just gonna think I just think he's a fan of the Joker. I don't really think he's
maybe.
gonna,
Life
start
is
laughing
too
and-
short. It's far too short for socks.
Hey,
that
right
match.
now,
It
I'm not
really
wearing
is.
socks right now, actually, funny enough.
Mm.
And so I am just
Neither
like,
am
on
I,
this-
Scott. I'm going sock free right now. Yeah.
Right? So again, Damien's with me on this.
Sans
Socks,
socks.
right?
Yeah.
We should exist sans socks.
Yes, we should. Yes. What are socks for anyway?
What socks?
you need a
got
barrier
to do-
between foot
got
and
to
shoe.
do
I
with
guess.
it.
Yes, if you're wearing shoes, but you see, if you're not wearing shoes, like I'm wearing Birkenstocks right now, or sandals, no socks required. So I know there are people up north that would disagree with me because they love to wear their socks.
Oh God.
And I mean, the younger generation actually is saying that socks and Birkenstocks is the way to go. And it's like, are you guys stupid? The whole point of wearing Birkenstocks is so you don't have to wear fucking socks. That's the whole point. Anyway.
These kids nowadays.
Oh,
It's like,
he's
what's
fucking
wrong
their
with
socks.
you? You're putting socks on in your sandals? Are you stupid? That's the whole
Good
reason to
damn
wear
whippersnappers.
sandals. Anyway,
I'm gonna share it, Eric.
Unseemly
Yeah.
toenails.
I
Yeah.
show off my unseemly toenails. If people want to look at them, that's their problem.
Pedicure.
Cut to Ren and Stimpy toe
It's like-
picture.
Yeah, they are not pretty.
But no, so here's the other thing. Here's something else I wanted to bring up that I was thinking about. So Trump got indicted for January 6th stuff.
Yay. About time.
That's another news thing. So
Thoughts, Scott?
my feelings are like that, like anybody that supports Trump should be happy.
Mhm.
Right? Because when you watch videos when they interview, when they go to the MAGA rallies and things like that, they're always like, there's so much evidence. Look at the evidence. There's so much evidence. Look at the evidence. Right? And you bring up, well, he went to 60 court cases and they were all thrown out. Right? No, there's evidence. Look at the evidence. They bring up the 2,000 mules, all these different things. Here is his chance, because all he has to do is say the election was rigged. And here's the evidence that the election was rigged. Because what he's being charged with is lying about the election being rigged and, instigating this riot. But if he
and
proves
the false electors or fake electors and stuff.
Well, yeah. But again, all he has to do is say that is show the evidence that it was rigged, right? Because again, the false electors then were the ones that he was replacing.
So he could rig the election.
Yes.
Oh,
So
it's
they
rigged,
should
Mr.
be
Trump.
happy
It sure as hell
Have
because-
you
is.
not seen the picture or
Yeah.
the documents that were submitted?
Yeah.
They
So-
look nothing.
This is his chance and MAGA's chance to see all of the evidence get shown to us all, so that we can sit there and support the fact that Donald Trump had the election rigged against him.
Oh, but they don't want to talk about any of that. They want to talk about Hunter Biden
Mm-hmm.
because, that's so important to the current presidential, or the
No.
current presidential
wanna-
term,
No,
So.
let's talk about that because
Oh,
that
no, I'm all for talking about
No,
Hunter
no.
Biden. So, but I mean,
no,
I'm just
let's talk about
Yeah, if
let
he
me-
did
nothing
something
burger,
wrong,
though,
charge him too.
Yeah.
no,
Exa-
no.
I'm
No.
not
Like,
saying
just
it's a nothing
like-
burger. Hey, Scott,
No.
I'm not saying it's a nothing burger and that he didn't do bad things and he shouldn't go and be on trial and possibly be found guilty for it.
I
I'm
am.
not saying that at all. I'm saying that it's a nothing burger as compared to the Biden presidency because he is not on the administration. He is not on the payroll. He is not part of anything to do with the Biden administration. So why the fuck does it have anything to do with anything in our news cycle? If he's just in there for tax evasion and getting a gun when he shouldn't have, well, how many millions of other people are on trial for that same shit that we don't hear about on the daily basis? If
No.
they're talking about fairness and he needs to get the same kind of treatment as those people, then get him off the fucking news. Is all I got to say.
This is
So-
this is a political witch hunt
It is.
against his against a presidential candidate,
Mhm.
just like the Trump election or the Trump indictment is a political witch hunt against a presidential candidate. This is the government and the deep state trying to sit there and interfere with an election,
Exactly.
right? And interfere with Joe Biden, just like they're interfering with Donald Trump.
Mhm.
And trying to MAGA's going to join us on this one because this is political interference and election interference, just like the trial for Donald Trump.
Yeah, so they must be on everybody else, on the Democrat side because that's what's going on. It's just another political witch hunt. So they must understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all on the same team here. These
That
political
Hunter-
witch hunts have to end.
That Hunter should not be getting indicted because all that is just the big government, deep state trying to attack a presidential candidate.
It
right?
sure is, just like what's going on against Trump right now.
Right.
So it's all just the deep state trying to take down, the little guy or the guy that's trying to change things. Or,
Right.
Yeah.
And so MAGA should agree, just like how these indictments of Donald Trump are a political witch hunt that are trying to sabotage the Trump candidacy. This indictment and this special counsel, right? They
Hey,
put in a
Eric,
special
I
counsel.
I see your comment, but it's important and newsworthy as much as how much the Trumps used corruption and influence peddling, and actually put through nepotism put Ivanka and Kushner in the fucking administration, and how much have they benefited monetarily, through influence peddling and so on and so forth. It's the Hunter Biden thing. Yeah, he was doing that during the Obama administration. He was like, my daddy's the vice president and blah, 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 blah. And he was getting jobs and making money, but there was no actual influence being being peddled there because
Right.
he had none. There's no evidence of it. None of that. So
Right.
it's a false equivalency. So, it's like, where are the allegations and the suits against Kushner and Ivanka and the Trump administration for nepotism and influence peddling and all of the people going into Trump hotels and so on and so forth? I don't agree. I think the Hunter Biden thing is 100% a nothing burger. It's 100% the right trying to take make nothing into something in order to make Biden look bad, is all it is. And I'm sick of it, honestly. I'm honest, 100% sick of it. I tune it out. I don't listen to it. I don't watch it. I don't care anymore. So
I think that they set.
I'm not interested in what about it is either, Eric. I'm just saying.
Let me say it this way. Say this. So I think with Hunter Biden, I think that he exploited his dad's position.
He did. Yeah.
I don't think that Biden collaborated with him on it.
No, I do not. I agree.
Right. And
Hunter
so
exploited
far,
the position, but there was no actual influence being peddled, is my point.
Right. And so far, there's been no evidence of that sort. And all of the investigations so far have shown that the contrary, that all of the people that they brought up, have either been, one of them was a Chinese agent, their big person, one of their big people was a Chinese agent. And then the other person, Hunter's partner said, no, there was no interaction by Joe Biden into any of this.
That's my whole point.
Yeah. So I think Hunter was exploiting his dad's position for his own
100% he was. Yes. Yeah.
But again, also Hunter wasn't connected to the government. So it wasn't a government.
Hunter was out there saying, my daddy can get you X if you do Y.
Right.
And they were doing Y, but there was no X.
Right.
And so it's like, there's no quid pro quo.
At least at this point.
As far as we can tell.
At least at this point. Right. And again, that special
if
prosecutor.
evidence comes up that what I'm saying is not true, and that there was a quid pro quo in the end, that, if you do Y, you'll get X, and they did get X, then fuck yeah, blow it out of the water. Blow it all up,
Yep.
I want to see, I'm all for people going to jail for breaking the law.
Yep.
That's why we have laws.
And Joe Biden shouldn't be president, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Joe Biden shouldn't be president, right?
He should drop out. He should let somebody else take the reins. He should be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I kind of fucked up there.
Yep.
But that's not what the evidence currently shows.
Right.
So
that's where I think
I do have to bring back whataboutism though back into that is what about?
Because Kushner got $200 billion from the Saudis.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a whole lot of dirty money on the Trump side that if we're going to investigate Hunter, we really need to be investigating the Trump family as well to the same extent or way further, because because those people were in the administration. They did benefit from being in the administration, and that, that needs to be investigated, but we're not looking into it. Maybe they did it through legal means somehow. I don't know, but that's some pretty crazy sleight of hand is all I got to say.
Yeah.
So
Eric and Eric, with this one, what I really earnestly think that I'm concerned that this is going to turn out to be is another Benghazi, where we have all of this hoopla, but after 12 or 14 investigations, there was no evidence. There were some things that needed to be improved on, but no negligence by Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying that everything she did was right or perfect or any way, shape, or form of that concept, but they found it was
nothing.
Yeah,
it's a big fat nothing burger that cost how many millions of dollars?
Yeah,
what was it?
But we're just in the first. Just in the first, and that's anticipatory worries, and so one investigation I don't have a problem with, like investigating to make sure that there weren't any. Where Republicans are upset is they wanted to be able to bring Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, like they're upset about the special counsel because they wanted to bring Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, they wanted to subpoena them into Congress to sit before their panel to, to ask their questions and go after them and all this different stuff. And they're upset because that's not going to be able to happen because there's an investigation by the Department of Justice happening. And so that's why the Republicans are really upset right now, is because they're not going to be able to like grandstand and do this whole like, where were you when? And so
and Eric, about your comment, the whole Russiagate thing, Russiagate wouldn't have been anything if Trump hadn't stood up in front of the entirety of the American people and said, Russia, help me. Where are you, Russia? Well, you need to investigate these people. And then what happened next? Russia broke into the DNC. So anyway, sorry, just to,
Eric,
I'm not a big fan of Russiagate either. That was another nothing burger in the end. But yeah, if it wasn't for those things, then that would have never been anything. So
and Eric, my comments are not regarding the probe. I think the probe is like I'm fine with. I think that it should be looked at as far as the Hunter Biden stuff. I think that should be investigated, and I'm fine with the independent counsel and everything, to ensure that there was no quid pro quo or any of that stuff. I absolutely think Hunter Biden should be investigated like that because again, kind of like what Damien just said, there would be no Russiagate if Trump didn't sit there and ask for Russia's help. Well, there would be
Russia
no
went and did what they did.
Right. So. There would be no, and also Trump, has a long history of Russian oligarchs purchasing his properties, purchasing his golf courses, and there's a long history of when Trump was no longer able to get funding from Deutsche Bank and U.S. banks because he failed to pay back so many of his loans and went bankrupt so often that it was Russian oligarchs that started paying him, like bailing him out, right? In a lot of these cases. And so like that, along with, hey, Russia, come help me, some of this stuff, like that's where like Russiagate. Now, mind you, for MSNBC and for what's her name? The main Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow was getting wicked ratings off of Russiagate, and so
it's a rating. It was all a rating.
Exactly.
Really
and
was.
so
just like the Hunter Biden thing is really mostly just a Fox News ratings thing.
Yeah,
yes, it's mentioned in left-wing news and it's mentioned in centrist news but it's all over the right-wing news. It's like it's front and center every day. So whereas they don't report on the Trump trials or the Trump investigation, they don't report on that on the right side of the media sphere. They report on Hunter Biden, but not January 6th investigations. Because, they might mention it. They'll bring it up. They'll say, hey, this is happening. Hey, but Hunter Biden.
Right.
And it's like, no,
right.
They
there's
need
a
to know about this too.
There's a disparity in how much
disparity
in how much they're bringing up. Let's phrase it that way.
Because there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the left, I'll concede that on the left, they're not really reporting a whole lot on the Hunter Biden thing.
Right.
So, and for part of the reason is, like I've mentioned before, because yes, it matters. No, it doesn't matter that much. So he's not in the administration. So anyway,
right.
I'm
but again,
drop that whole thing.
Yeah.
So.
I think what matters is, ruling out the connection between Hunter Biden and his dad, right? That's where I think that's to me what's important, right? Is the connection between Hunter Biden and his dad. And Eric, if you're posting messages, like I would be responding to them, but for some reason, like the chats are loading up really slow on me, so I can't see. Like that's why I was like, oh, did Eric say something like earlier? I don't see like the last one I see is that's why there's a probe to look for evidence, and so I haven't seen anything else. So I don't
Something
know.
about
Like,
Yolanda Baturina, who was immune from Biden.
put it
yeah,
up.
there you go.
Sorry, I was trying to work on a video graphic to go along with this conversation.
yeah,
I'm trying to make a red flag that's flapping in the breeze that says "Make Atlantis Great Again."
Atlantis, or Alanis Morissette. Alanis.
Atlantis.
Okay. all right.
Atlantis.
And
We
it
say
cons-
we should make Alanis
conspiracy
great again
theories.
because
Yeah,
it's not
But,
fair.
no, like
I didn't know
Again-
she stopped being great.
so.
She is still great.
There
Eric,
you go.
Let's make Atlantis great again.
I am aware of who you're talking about. And again, like I said, I don't disagree that looking into a connection between Hunter Biden and Joe Biden is important, right? But once you rule out that there is no connection between, once you rule out a connection between what Hunter Biden was doing and it coordinated or collaborated like with Joe Biden, you know, that's where I think that it falls flat, because anything
that's-
else that Hunter Biden does, Hunter
That's
Biden
kind of my
did,
whole point. Yeah.
right? Hunter Biden did as a civilian and has the right to do as a civilian, because he's not a government agent. Where I agree with Damien is that we need the same, you know, fervor when it comes to Jared Kushner and Ivana Trump or Ivanka Trump, because they were actually in the administration and they have been profiting off of their, you know, work within the administration, right? When it comes to Ivanka Trump's, you know, IPs or business licenses in China,
and so
right?
on and so forth,
And you know, the stuff with Saudi Arabia, like
Mhm.
those, you know, like, so I like, again, and it's not about if we're not doing it for one, then we can't do it for the other. Like, I absolutely think we need to do it for Hunter Biden.
And I, again, 100% agree with you that we need to be investigating Hunter Biden. I just think as far as per the administration goes, it's a nothing burger. Not that he didn't do anything wrong or that he shouldn't be investigated. I just don't see it as having anything to do with the Biden administration. So, and go ahead, Scott, with what you were saying.
I'll also say,
Yeah.
like, another thing I don't hear like any of the right really talking about, and I haven't heard too many. I've heard some, but I haven't really I haven't heard like right people talk about this, is that of using revenge porn, the use of revenge porn in the Hunter Biden case by the government, right? Because at no point in time should the government be allowed to post and release your nude pictures, because God forbid that happened to Ivanka Trump, right? Like, I know there's plenty of guys that would be happy about that, as disgusting as it is. But I think most of us that are decent would be like, whoa, what are you doing? This is ludicrous, right? And even on the left, we would say, what are you doing? This is not appropriate, I would hope. you know, after like this crap that I said, like with Ravana and everything, God, I don't know, man. Like, Jesus.
I'm just popping up his last two
100%, Eric.
previews.
I agree with you, Eric. Right?
And yeah,
But getting back to something that Eric would say.
Eric, I'm glad that you posted that, because I'm glad to hear that they the National Review has been denouncing that, because that absolutely needs to be denounced. That's revenge porn, and the government should not be in the practice of posting revenge porn. That's illegal in multiple states. It should be illegal federally.
But my thing is let the Department of Justice do whatever the hell they need to do, you know, and keep it out of, as opposed to putting it out there for public opinion in the court of public opinion. You know, let the Justice Department do what they need to do. If they find something, they find something. They move on it and do something about it. You know, regardless of family. You know.
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Just my opinion, Hunter Biden's kind of a piece of crap. And if he's broken a bunch of laws, he should be thrown in jail. Just FYI. That's how I feel about it.
I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. Is
Okay.
like let the justice system
Let them do
play
their
out.
job.
Let them yeah. And when it comes out, cool.
Mhm. I just don't-
Otherwise, drop it. Both,
Yeah.
you know.
My big thing is I don't connect it to the current administration because he's not in it, you know. So yes, I get that influence peddling, blah blah blah, but like I said earlier, he's promising X and they're saying I'll give you Y, but they never get X. So there's no quid pro quo. So anyway.
Not denying that, but the court of public opinion and all that crap is like nobody knows all the facts and people are just spewing shit out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
we do need transparency.
Yes, absolutely need transparency.
Mhm.
One of the things that because they're not, because the Trump trial will not be televised.
That pisses me off.
You know what? Someone brought up
There's
really
kind of a good part to that too, though.
Yeah. This
The revolution will not be televised.
right.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
Yeah. But no, like
The revolution will not be televised.
okay. So then, therefore, January 6th is
But that
actually
was televised.
Yeah, well, actually, then it wasn't it wasn't what it was made out to be, because that was televised, exactly. Right?
Yeah,
so
it was
therefore
not
it
the
wasn't
revolution.
a revolution,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. It was either failed, doomed from the start because it was televised, or it just wasn't a revolution.
See, that's the conspiracy. They televised it, which doomed the revolution. So that's why Trump's not president. Television's problem.
We
The
need
last
more
thing we
airtime
do-
for Trump.
This is true.
It's not like voters care about facts and evidence. Yeah. So, but no, the I think it was Francesca Fiorentina, Tina. She had said that actually is a boon for the writer, and I did slip and say whiter, the writer and actors guilds.
Nice Freudian slip there, Scott.
I know, right? Because
we all knew you were racist. We just knew it.
right. The clues have been there. The conspiracy nuts that we called nuts, they knew it all along.
They knew it all along.
They've been
Like,
seeing it. So
That Scott
If you
guy,
throw
he's
enough
really
shit on the
racist.
wall, I mean,
I
you're
know,
bound to
right?
hit something, right?
there's enough red strings. One of them are going to be right. But no, like, so she had mentioned that, like, had it been televised, it would have been a bailout for the media and production companies, because around that time the strike is likely to be going on into like the end of this year, right? Which means nothing is getting produced, nothing is getting made, nothing, like, so there's going to be a dirge of media content, right?
Yeah, I'm all for reruns.
Well,
Anyway,
right. I
I
think most of
support
us.
the writers' block or strike, and I support the actors' strike too. But
Yes,
and I think they all need to get more money. But
absolutely.
I mean, part of me also is like, I'll just watch reruns. I don't.
Yeah, well, it's time to catch up on all those shows, like those really good classics
There's a
and stuff
shit
like
ton
that.
of shows I have never not finished watching. Yes,
Right.
like I'm still watching X-Files. I've never watched it all the way through. So
I was
Yeah.
just talking
Yeah.
about that with my son today.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to watch it back in the day, kind of like I used to watch, The Next Generation back in the day. But honestly, until I watched it all the way through, I had never seen all of the episodes. There were a
Yeah.
few I had missed. So it's like with X-Files, it's like 1 in 3 episodes I'd never seen before. So it's like watching the show for the first fucking time, and it's like, man, this thing is fucking awesome,
Right.
It's like, yeah. Anyway,
Or watching like Twin Peaks, man, going back and watching that, like
I need to watch that because I've never watched Twin Peaks, not more than maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and everybody says
I was-
how great it is.
Good
I was a
night,
kid.
Eric.
Night, Eric.
Good night,
Thanks
Eric.
for joining us.
Much
I
love.
wish
Yes.
like,
Sorry.
while
Appreciate
you
you,
were commenting,
brother.
like just had been in the episode instead of like just commenting, but I get it. Anyway. Have fun.
so I just yeah, no, I think it'll be a good time to actually get caught up on really like older shows that you haven't been able to see. And so
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I finished watching The Handmaid's
Handmaid's?
Tale. Yeah. Up to the end of
The final
season.
season. Anyway.
Yeah, the last
Yeah.
season. So if they come out with another season, which aren't they supposed to have one more
Yes.
season?
think
At least one more. Yeah.
At least one more. So if they come out with another one, I'll be caught up and I can actually watch the new season.
But
So-
I mean, the good thing about not making anything new is there's not going to be a lot of like remakes of good stuff and ruining classics.
oh yeah.
I
Oh, God.
wish, I really wish that streaming had become what it was promised to be at the beginning. When streaming first came out, it was like, you'll be able to watch all the content that has ever existed online. And it's like, no, I can't. I can't see half the shit I want to watch. Just not out there, it's not available, at least
Right.
not on the streaming platforms. Some of it's on YouTube, some of it's not. But there's a lot of shit that just has fallen through the cracks. It's like, and it's all comes down to like rights and, monetization and so on and so forth.
Right.
And, that show didn't have enough following to begin with. And it was canceled after one season. So why would we pick it up and pay you, royalties on a product that nobody wanted to watch to begin with? Because I want to fucking watch it. Because
Right.
I watched that one season and I really liked that one season. You
Right. And I
know?
want to be able to watch it again.
And I want to be able to
right?
watch. It's like, what is it, like The Edge, or there was like 2 different comedy shows that came out that only lasted like 1 or 2 seasons way back in the day that I thought were hilarious. And
Inside
you can't-
Herman's Head.
Herman's Head was great, but no, there was 2 like sketch comedy shows.
Oh.
The Edge was one of them, and then the other one was like, it was like the Edge and The State.
Oh yeah. The State.
Mhm.
The State you can probably find somewhere. The
Yeah.
Edge came out before The State, and it had a lot of the same actors that were on The Edge were in The State, but they were different. On The Edge, it was like way more edgy. It's
Gotcha.
very funny, and it was like, I think it was only lasted 1 season. It was like one of the greatest comedy shows I ever saw at that age. I think I was like 13 or something at the time. And I remember thinking how great it was. And it's like, go try to find it. Go try to find that show. So, yeah. Anyway.
No, like the Max. Like
Mhm.
you can't.
Yeah,
you can't
Max.
See that.
Yeah.
The Max, you can't
Mhm.
find that. That's only on
The Max
DVD.
was great. Yeah.
Duckman, you can't get.
Oh, I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, like that one. That one's
Hmm.
only on DVD. Like and so
'Cause you can't stream most of it.
right. You're just not able to. Either.
There was a
So you
couple.
have to
What
go-
was that movie I wanted to watch the other day that I couldn't stream, and I was pissed off about it?
PCU you can't stream.
That's it. That's the one. I wanted to watch PCU, and I was like, I have it on VHS, but I don't have it on disc. And I was like, I wonder if I can
Upgrade.
stream it. It doesn't exist out there. It's
Nope.
like, what the fuck? It's PCU.
Yeah, we were
You know,
talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it on
And
disc.
there's a
It's
couple
crap
others that I
quality.
have on VHS that I can't watch because they don't stream them. And it's like, I thought the whole idea behind streaming was it would all be available, and it's not all available. It
Right.
just is like the empty promises that are like that, those kinds of services just frustrates me to no end. And it's like, try to find a Blu-ray player in a electronic store today.
Oh yeah.
Good
yeah,
luck.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you have to buy them online because nobody buys them anymore because everybody streams everything. But it's
Right.
like half of the shit I actually want to watch, I can only buy on disc, and I need a Blu-ray player for that. What if
Right.
mine breaks? Well, I'm gonna have to
Right.
buy a used one on
And they're-
eBay.
Yeah, and they're not
know?
and they're not that cheap either.
No, they're not. Good ones are $400 or $500 still.
Right. Because
It's old
nobody wants to buy
technology.
it.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
old technology. That's technology that's 20 years
Well,
old at this point.
It's
Yeah,
it's so expensive because nobody wants to buy it, so they
Yeah, because
have
nobody
large
wants to
amounts.
have discs.
Right.
But
And
you
so-
can't stream half the shit that you want to watch, and the only where it exists is on disc.
Yeah,
Right.
because here it is, PCU,
Mm-hmm.
Prime Video. This video is currently unavailable to watch in your location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have it like region.
You can't even
specific,
buy
too.
it to rent,
Yeah.
to stream.
It was like there's another movie recently. I can't remember the name of it, but I was trying to watch another movie recently. I was looking.
Where am I?
Airplane or something like that. It's like none of the streaming services had it. And I'm like, it's Airplane. They used to play that on basic cable.
Oh yeah.
Basic cable like 3 times a week when I was a kid, and I can't fucking watch it on streaming.
So but I watched way back in the day
Mhm.
Peter Jackson's
Mhm.
Muppet movie, Meet the Feebles.
Uh,
And that was like back in the 90s, mid 90s or so, mid to late 90s. And I have wanted to watch that ever since. And
Mhm.
trying to get it has been virtually impossible to find. And so like that has been something that's been incredibly difficult. And again, I agree with you. And then on top of it, like it was supposed to be like everything was all the streaming services were supposed to be like $5, right? And
Yeah.
then that way you could all get like the streaming services, and then you could make your own cable, right?
Yeah.
And just
Once
have the
upon a time,
channels
there
that
were
you
like
want.
3 streaming services. There was Netflix, there was Hulu, and there was Prime.
Right.
And that was it. And
Right.
if you paid between $5 and $10 a month per service for the 3 of them, you could basically get everything that ever existed. But the problem is that no, you couldn't. And they keep dropping shit off. So
Yep.
one month I could watch the, Star Trek on Prime, and next month it's on Netflix. And it's like, what if I didn't have Netflix? What if I was in the middle of watching The Next Generation on Prime and it just went off air? It's like, motherfucker.
Well,
You're
and
just
the
like,
thing is that they keep on paying the CEOs these
Mhm.
massive
Mhm.
bonuses,
mhm.
right? Because they're meeting their goals and all this different stuff. So they're making crazy amounts of money. So in
Mhm.
order to keep that up and keep the profits for the company to maintain with all of these executives and their
Mhm.
massive bonuses, you now have to raise the rates of the monthly cost of the subscriber
Yeah,
fees,
so we
right?
can pay their fucking bonuses and then get another goddamn yacht.
Exactly.
Fuck that.
Because they got to keep on
Yeah.
getting the 15% for their stockholders, right? So the stockholders and the executives are the ones that are making out like a bandit. And again, it's yet another way of them redistributing our wealth up to the very top, right?
Yep.
And and again, and like writers get paid absolute shit, right?
Mhm.
And when we look at like great movies, the writers or great shows and stuff like that, writers are getting paid shit
Mhm.
like horribly.
Yeah.
And
I
you know,
agree. They need to be paid a lot more. So,
right? And we'll sit there and here's another thing also. You know why streaming services will only have 3 seasons? Did we talk about this before?
I think we did once upon a time, yeah. But go ahead and reiterate your point.
The reason is because if it gets to like 5 seasons, then they have to start paying royalty fees, right? because it gets syndicated, right?
Oh, fuck
Syndication
that. They
fees
should
and
be
everything,
paying royalty fees on one season.
right?
I
Well,
mean,
syndication fees and all these different added bonus fees to all the actors and
and
all this different
that's a
stuff.
TV model. We're not watching television anymore. We're watching streaming. That's
Right,
completely different.
right.
Because
Well,
streaming is basically forever. Forever. You
well,
know,
and
if
again,
it's like Netflix owns this product like Stranger Things, and it doesn't get to 5 seasons, it only does 4, but it's like those 4 seasons are the most popular friggin' show that ever existed. You know what I'm saying? But the writers don't get extra money, even though that this is getting rerun after rerun after rerun after rerun. You know, that's ridiculous. No,
no,
they should get paid for every fucking view as far as I'm concerned.
there was.
So,
Oh, I agree with
yeah,
on that. But
yeah.
no, there was an article about like when all of these strikes started happening. Everything was
Mm,
the so Orange is the New Black, right?
mm-hmm,
Massive show, right? The people that were a part of that were like getting so little in pay that it was
mm-hmm,
something like they were having to go out and get extra jobs and
mm-hmm,
all of these different things. Like they weren't making virtually any money, right?
mm-hmm,
And so for a lot of these shows, you'll start to see the actors moving into production roles, right?
mm-hmm,
And getting producer credits because the producers actually make money off of these things, right?
mm-hmm.
Which is such a fucked up situation because what that does is it's like, well, we're investing the money into this so that obviously we're the ones that need to get paid. But fuck you, producer. Like, again, I think a producer's important, like an important part. But like, I'm not watching a movie because of a producer. I'm watching a movie because of the actors and because of the storytellers and because
Mm-hmm.
the actors and the writers and like the directions and obviously the editors
Because we've created a society where money is more valuable than effort.
then effort
So
and people.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So all the people that actually put in the effort to make the product are less valuable than the person that puts in the money to make the
right,
product.
right,
And I agree that the person that puts in that the people that they're putting in the effort and they're getting paid, and the person that's putting in the money only gets paid if it makes money. So they're taking a risk, and I get that. But the people that are putting in the effort are taking a risk that it won't make money because they're looking at long term. If this goes 5 seasons or whatever and becomes syndicated and so on and so forth, that they'll make extra money. So they're putting in
right,
the effort to try to make it get to that point. So there's this disconnect between the people that are putting in the hardest effort to make something work versus somebody that just has extra zeros in their bank account and are just, yeah, they're investing money, and money is time, and money is valuable, and it represents work, even though most of these people didn't have to work for that money. They
right.
just invested it in something else that made them money.
Or
So it's
they
free
inherit
money,
it.
or they inherited it. And so it's free money, basically. They didn't have to do
Right,
anything to make it. It's free
right,
money. But these people over here are actually putting in effort and time and their life and their effort and their blood and sweat and tears into this, and they make the least. It's like, no, that's backwards. That's upside down. And
right.
if you think it isn't backwards and upside down, then you really need to check how your brain works. You know, it's just, I get that investment matters. Yes, it does. And
Yes,
investors should make money. Yes, they should.
yes,
But they shouldn't make the most, is my point.
right.
So, and they shouldn't shit on the people that they rely on to make things actually happen. Because without them, nothing exists. There
Right.
are
They
talkers and
shouldn't
there are
make so
doers.
much. They
Yeah.
shouldn't make so much that
Mm,
those that actually do the labor, that do the
mhm.
work, right, and everything, um, are taken from,
Yeah.
right?
There's basically
Sound
two
like
groups of
me at
people in the
work.
world. There's the talkers and the doers. The doers make everything happen. The talkers talk about things that they want to happen. You
Right.
know, the producers are the talkers. Yes, they put up some money, but they're the fucking talkers. They're not the doers. They don't make anything happen. They just put up some money so that other people can do the do. But the people that do the do, they don't do the do, then none of this shit happens. You
Right.
know? So
So
it's not like one is more important than the other, is my point. They're
yeah.
both equally important.
Absolutely. So, and
yeah.
that's where I say, like, again, because, like, I like this. I think it was a little bit like BS,
Mm,
but I like that the progressives finally put out a bill,
hmm
and it's their wealth tax, right? And it's based on the lower your wealth gap between your lowest, it's something like the either the lowest paid employee and the
hmm
highest paid employees, right? Those with the least get taxed, with the smallest gap get taxed the least, and those with the largest gap get taxed the most, right?
hmm
So, like, so then what it does is it incentivizes, like, look, man, you want to pay your CEOs like billions, well, and your lowest paid employees are making millions. As long as it's profitable, fan freaking tastic. Like, have at
hmm
it, right? But as long as it's a really small wage gap and wage
hmm
difference, right? Then have at it, Hoss, right? Enjoy yourself, and we're going
hmm
to tax you very little, right? But if you're making billions and your lowest paid employee is making tens, then you're going to get taxed like like an MFer. Like,
But you also have to look at money in, money out. So if like the producers put in $1 billion to finance it and they only make 2, then that's, they're only doubling their money. And that's a lot of fucking money, actually.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
when you
what
look
I'm
at,
saying.
never mind, that's a bad example. So if they put in $1 billion and they make 1.2, they only made 20%. So, that's still actually a good investment. That's still a bad analogy, but it's still a good
It's
investment.
still
But
more than you do putting
yeah,
money in a savings account.
but yeah, true. No, that's 20%. Your savings accounts will make 4 to 5 right now. So,
right.
Yeah.
and if you had like stocks and bonds and whatnot, you're going to make somewhere between 8 and 14% right now, depending. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
And so
um,
if you put in
yeah.
$1 billion and you only make 1,030,000, you
Mhm.
got paid 1,030,000, but you only really made 30,000 in profit.
Yeah, you've recouped your
Right.
investment plus $30,000 in this. That's not
Which isn't
any,
that much.
That's chump change to somebody
Right.
that just invested $1 billion.
Right.
If they made 1,200,000,000, that's still honestly chump change to somebody that just invested $1 billion. So they have very little incentive to invest that again. So that yes, they need to make more than 20%. They need to make at least 50% on top of their initial investment for them to be worth to value doing it again, kind of thing. And that's honestly how they think, and that is the reality of the situation. So
Sure.
we have to take that into account. But so that should be like the tax-free line, We're not going to, or a reasonable tax line. Let's not say tax-free. It should be a reasonable amount of tax. Anything above that, and they're not paying people below huge bonuses for making this thing happen. If they made $2 billion on a $1 billion investment, and their people are making $10,000 or $20,000 a year or $50,000 a year instead of $100,000 a year, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They should be taxed to the point that their best decision that they could make financially would be to pay their people more,
Right.
because they pay their people more. That's a tax write-off, and that's not money they made. That's an expense.
And so here's the thing is that, so businesses get taxed based on their profits, right?
Yes. So employees are an expense. So if you pay them more, you get less. And I think they should be paid, there should be a better tax code that looks at the percentage, like you were saying, the percentage that the employee is making versus the percentage of the CEO or the, initial investors. And so that,
that's the wealth tax, rather
the
than
wealth. Yeah. So the
rather than the
disparity
2
is
cent
less.
thing or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, go with what you were saying.
So, but like the way it was back, like with even Eisenhower and FDR and Truman and historically was that you had high corporate taxes, and what that did based on profits, right? So what that meant is that rather than taking profits, you reinvested in your companies, and so you had a lot of companies growing, right?
Yeah.
And so you didn't take
in your
a lot.
people, you invested in R&D,
Exactly.
you invested in
Exactly.
equipment,
Right.
you invested in facilities, which is why American companies once upon a time built things like the World Trade Center and
Right.
the Empire State Building and so on and so forth. Those were capital expenses that they could write off,
Right.
and they wouldn't, and we built great things because our tax code was structured so that we would build things rather than privatize all of the
Income.
profits.
Yeah.
So now we've built a system where all of the profits become privatized, and what we end up with is, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and
Well, and what we get
so on and
is
so
is
forth.
government
Elon Musk
is
know.
government investing in the company to pay for their developments, right?
that too.
Through the NIH and stuff like that, rather
Yeah.
than the companies doing it themselves,
Mhm.
right? And so there again, it's that redistribution
So it's-
of our
it's
income.
Public funds funding private industry that the
Right.
profits then go to the top 0.01%.
Exactly.
like
Like MLK said, socializing, right?
Yeah.
Socializing the costs and privatizing the gains.
So we socialize the risk and privatize the reward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And so like, and again, that's something that I thought was like a really, really,
Yeah.
I'm
and he
upset
wasn't
that
the first one to say it. I can't
No,
remember who
no.
was, but it's
But-
an old saying, and it's
Yeah.
part of like the whole communist thing. But anyway, a socialist thing, I should
But-
say. But
it's like what infuriates me is that the progressives finally put this bill out when there's no way that it'll ever get passed. So it's like they're starting a conversation, but they darn sure didn't start the conversation when Democrats were in charge of everything. And I'm like, you guys. But again, and
Because
this is one of the
it's
things.
all engineered to run that way. I hate to say
exactly.
it, but it's
No,
like
it is.
it's like the people that can do want to do something don't do anything until they can't,
Right.
and the people that anyway. So
Well, they again, Dems want to say we can't because the Republicans stopped us, not because we didn't want to. We wanted to so badly.
I guarantee
that
you that the
Republicans
progressive
stopped us.
bill was basically just pushed down until it was impossible to push through.
Right.
That's, yeah.
And
Not by progressives either, by moderates and centrists and so on and so forth. And
by
so anyway.
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck
Nancy
Schumer,
Pelosi,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like,
yes.
but now, like the Justice Democrats, who are the Democrats that don't take corporate money and all that stuff, now their organization has just had to lay off 9 of their 20 employees, and because people have stopped investing in them, because they haven't done shit for us. And like the whole point, and the whole point of that group was to go after and primary, like corporate Democrats that are currently in office, and to challenge and primary current, corporate Democrats. And what they have said is that they're no longer doing that this year because they don't have enough money. And so what they're going to try and do is just maintain who they have. And I'm like, oh, so basically Justice Democrats have just become the DNC. Like, because that's all the DNC does. The DNC doesn't sit there and go and get like as many people to run for a primary as possible. What they do is they insulate those that are in office as they are. And so, and they protect the people that are in office. And that's what the Justice Democrats are now doing, is that they're strictly trying to protect and insulate their candidates. And I'm like, well, but why? Because if they get voted out, they get voted out because they didn't do their job. Because they kept on capitulating to Nancy Pelosi and to Chuck Schumer, and they're not actually fighting for what the people are asking for.
Really got to get rid of this whole 2-party system and start thinking of some things as, if we started thinking of things as liberals and conservatives and centrists, and then like look at it like a rainbow rather than, or a gradient, however you want to look at it, rather than left and right, I think we could get a lot further as a country and get a lot more things done that the citizenry actually wants, rather than just, the powers that be on the right and the left, manipulating things to make things happen the way they want it to be. And it's like, no, the majority of Americans want universal health care. That's a poll that's, time and time again,
Should start putting things on ballots and actually forcing them to like, this is what we want. Make it happen.
Yeah. Put it on the fucking bill.
Of course, it'd be like, how Florida did the thing with the felons, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Did you read those
you did
ballots?
your time, huh?
Did you read some of those ballots?
They'll give you something good that the people want, and then they'll slip in other crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That nobody wants. And it's like it makes it confusing too.
If they word it in a way that if the powers that be don't want it to happen, they word it to sound bad, even when it's not. And it's like the wording of the on the ballot, the wording of the bill is like, that sounds horrible. Who would want that? Why would I ever vote for that? And it's like, but that's not what that really means,
Or they'll word it to where there's enough vagary that if it does pass, they can go, but this is how we're gonna do it.
But this is what we meant.
Yeah, so it's like,
but this is how we're gonna interpret this.
You did your time, but you still owe some fees, some court fees or whatever.
Those, you can't vote. You just can't until you pay that $150,000 worth of rent that you accrued while in the fucking prison system. It's like, how is this person that's going to go get a job making $20,000 a year ever pay that shit off?
No,
and I know that's an arbitrary number, 150,000. It's not that much, but
no, but when you're in prison, there's no way, because you make 15 cents an hour, right?
Yeah.
The
rest is to cover your expenses.
Right. No. What we need to do is
it's like the old coal mine fucking banks or whatever, coal mine towns where they paid you in coal tokens and you had to buy it at the company store,
What we need to do is amend the 13th Amendment to say slavery is illegal, and that once you're when you're a citizen, right? Mm-hmm. And you do not lose your rights as a citizen when it comes as far as the right, because you must get paid to a living. If you're in prison and we're going to put you to work, you got to get paid.
Yeah.
And if the prison doesn't want to do that, then the prison shouldn't have that as part of its routine. Well, then what are they going to do? Great. Let's take some of the taxpayer money and let's work on reform and actually getting them educated and ready to go out. Absolutely. Right. And get them ready to get out of here. Right.
We need HVAC techs. We need electricians. We need carpenters. We need carpenters.
Right.
I need fucking carpenters. Dozens of them. That's the hardest thing I have to find right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
Electricians, plumbers, HVAC guys, carpenters, fucking trim techs, fucking you name it. Somebody that knows how to do concrete properly.
Right.
Friggin' train these people how to do it.
Let's get them
somebody
skilled.
Who knows how to use a plumb line correctly to put a
fuck yes.
Let's get them skilled.
Square a goddamn fucking door or a
get them in treatment.
Door. Holy shit.
Let's get them in treatment so that they understand all of the different dynamics that led to where they where they're in this situation, so that they can grow from it, and then that way there's not a risk of recidivism.
We have an entire workforce jailed because they fucking sold some pot.
Or had enough for somebody to think, oh, you're going to sell that.
Yeah.
Right.
They had over an ounce on them, so they're a fucking drug dealer all of a sudden. It's like, no, fuck you.
Or they just happened to be in a really bad situation and they made some terrible, terrible mistakes that really impacted people's lives, including their own. And let's give them I don't know. We say this is a Christian country. I don't know. Let's work on understanding forgiveness and teach a man to fish so that he can eat for the rest of his life rather than feed a man a fish so that he eats for a day.
I've seen homeless people commit crimes solely so they don't have to freeze to death.
Yes.
Yes. And then they turn around and just let them go. Right.
Yeah.
they risked catching a charge, so they didn't freeze to death because they couldn't get into a shelter because there's a capacity
full.
limit. You know,
So they
And
go
it's
break
like-
into an abandoned building or something, or go like,
or
you know-
actually harm somebody.
yeah, that too.
Right.
So
To
that they
steal
can
money
go
so they
in-
can go
yeah.
stay somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just to even get in jail, stand there and wait
Mm-hmm.
to go to jail.
Yeah, true. That too. Yeah. I'd rather go to jail than die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then freeze to death or
Yeah.
starve to death.
Well,
Right?
freeze to death is death. Death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Death.
I'd rather go to jail than die.
Die. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
So yeah, and you're right.
Freezing
you're
to death is death, Scott.
Yes, Scott. That's it. Doesn't matter which
It's
death
kinda-
we're talking
it's kinda
about.
It doesn't matter what death, freeze to death or starve
Burning
to death, or
freezing to death,
or
starving to death,
know,
fucking getting
you
run
know,
over
not
to
a
death,
spiritual
dehydrate to
death,
death,
Scott.
or
Yeah.
It's not a spiritual death. It was
Yeah.
death.
Death,
no,
death,
it's
yes.
it's death. Yeah. So no, like the and again, you bring up prison reform, and the way that they would frame it is the bill to release more pedophiles into the public.
That's the way they frame it. Correct. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want more felons in your neighborhood raping your kids? And
Yeah.
it's like, no, that sounds really bad. I'm going to vote against that. But that's not really what the bill's about. The bill's about getting people that are non-violent offenders out of the fucking jails. Like,
But I would
fucking-
even say I would even say violent offenders, because violent offenders get out too.
Mm.
A violent offender is not in prison for the rest of their fucking life. They're going to get released, right? So
Yeah.
when
But
they
some
get released,
violent
let's get
offenders
them
catch us-
fucking prepared.
Wind up with a smaller sentence or shorter sentence than some kid who got
The
caught
non-violent, yeah. The
And it's
drugs.
It's like, what the hell?
If if you've got not like a sex charge, like you're maybe looking at 2 years, maybe 5
Depends.
years.
Are you like 17 and white and have
Right,
rich
yeah,
parents
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't
really.
want to ruin the rest of his life? Or I think he was an adult, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember
We
if
really
he was
want to
charged
ruin
as an
the rest
adult
of
or
this
if he
kid's
was.
life because of blah blah blah. That's like,
Right.
yeah. And I believe in forgiveness. And yes, we shouldn't ruin the rest of that kid's life, but we shouldn't ruin the rest of that black kid's life or that Latino
Right,
kid's
right.
life.
No,
or,
and
you
again,
know.
I do think that you do something terrible like that,
Mhm.
you need to go in or whatever. I agree with like
Oh,
this construct.
repeat that, Scott.
of-
You-
Yeah,
prison.
repeat that.
You-
We
lost
went
you there for a
R2D2 on
second.
us.
Oh, sorry. Like if you commit a crime, right? I do believe you need to go somewhere, regardless of what it is that you call it, whether it's prison or whatever, right? You need to go like
yeah, there should be
because I
repercussions.
don't believe that you
but-
should get like
Yeah, I'm
Go
not. Yeah, I would never. None of us should believe that nobody. There should be no repercussions for.
there've been some on
Yeah.
the left, including
sure.
Lance the Surf or whatever,
When you
who
get
says
into
like prisons shouldn't exist at all.
when you
and if
get into
commit a-
the
like,
argument that everything you do is based on the experiences that you've had before and the traumas from blah 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 blah, and that you're not actually responsible for the things that you do due to the fact that the things that came before influence what you do now, then there's a logical way of looking at that yeah, maybe you shouldn't be punished for, but at the
maybe
same
it
time,
shouldn't be a prison. Maybe it
Yeah.
should be
but
some
but it's like
other
whatever-
some other program that you get into
right.
yeah.
to get
But at
your
the-
shit
At the
organized.
same time, we can't let somebody whose experiences have led up to them being the way they are today go around murdering people because, well, it's not their fault.
Or
you
hurting
know,
people because
or
it's not
hurting
their
people,
fault.
yeah, hurting people in general in any way, whether that be rape,
Right.
murder, stealing, so on and so forth, yada yada yada, or even just anything that's violent in any way. We have to control. That's what society does. We have to control
Right.
those people, put them somewhere where they can be dealt with, whether that be, and I think dealing with them shouldn't be throwing them in a hole and throwing rocks at them and, calling them bad names. I think it should be some sort of reform and I'm not qualified to make that discussion about what that reform is,
Right. But
you know,
where
but
they're doing like things where they're getting treatment, right?
yes,
For where they're able to do like groups and counseling where
yes, yeah,
that and also part of it is that the people that were giving like the
cognitive therapy, so on and so
the
forth.
but like the jail corrections officers, right?
Mhm.
Like wannabe cops that couldn't make it as cops. Like
Correct,
they
yeah.
are incredibly abusive,
or
right? And
it's
authoritarian.
actually, I know quite a few people that went through the corrections officer programs. A lot of them just were waiters and waitresses and got sick of being waiters and waitresses and saw something that might make them more money.
Right.
It's not just wanting to
Yeah, right.
It's people
Yeah,
that
true,
were
true, true.
completely
Right.
different, positions. But yeah.
But and again, like their culture
Mhm.
contributes to the toxic nature of prisons, right?
Yeah.
Because because we don't see the prisoners as humans,
Mhm.
right? And if you have a place that's, I hate calling it like reformation or whatever, because, in dystopian books, books of dystopia, like reform,
Mhm.
and also even in like reform schools and things like that have had a long history of like abusiveness
Mhm.
and everything. But like reformation organizations,
Mhm.
right, absolutely need to have a different culture, because not only do the employees that are there in the front lines have an impact on the behavior of the prisoners, but so
Mhm.
along with the prisoners issues and things like that, right? And so like having it in a situation where we're taking a more invested approach
Mhm.
to healing people, right?
Mhm.
And that the goal is to heal and train so that when
Mhm.
you leave here a better person than when you came in,
And
right?
just
And that's
just
not the point of
go ahead.
prisons.
Just to
Go ahead. That's
clarify,
what I was gonna say.
there are always going to be people that are just, and I don't know the best term to put this. I'm not going to use one term because that might be, that are always going to be bad cats. You ever met a bad cat that just no matter what you do, it's feral? No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. No matter what you do, no matter how many times you feed it, no matter how much you try to take care of it, it's a bad cat. It's
Well,
always
I
gonna
wouldn't
be
say
a bad cat.
I wouldn't say it's a bad cat. It's a feral cat.
Yeah.
It's just
What I'm
it's
saying,
being in the
you
house
understand
is
what
not
I'm
a
saying,
proper
though.
place.
Yeah.
Yes. Where
No
being it's
matter
a feral
what you
cat.
do, they're going to be feral and they don't
Right.
belong in society. And so what do you do with them? They're going to have to stay
So-
there. That's the only thing we
Well,
can do. It's either that or
and
let
so-
them loose in the woods, but then they'll find
Correct.
their way back because they want food. So, you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I would
So-
just say I think his name is Justin Galaxy, the guy, the cat guy or whatever. He would just say that's a feral cat, and they're an outdoor cat, and they exist outdoor.
They're a wild
And
cat.
I
Yes.
100%
Right.
agree.
They will work
I have
fine
a
with
feral
other
cat.
cats.
I
Right.
have a feral cat. She will never be an indoor cat.
Exactly.
So on and so forth. But the thing is if we live in a society where all cats are indoor cats, what do you do with the feral cat?
Right. So
That's my
right.
point.
So
Yeah.
so with people that have
Mhm.
like that are sociopaths and
Yeah.
with like things of that nature, right? Like
Yeah.
that becomes something like that becomes and again,
Mhm.
not like again like antisocial personality disorder.
My point is you can't fix them. No matter how much reforming, no matter how much education, no matter how much you do, there's no fixing this particular cat. It is a feral cat. It has to be outside. You cannot bring it in.
Right.
Period.
And that's but
So-
that's where we get into
Yeah.
some discussions. And again, that's where I would leave it up for people beyond even my education.
Okay. All right.
And my training.
So
right, because
what
I
you're
agree
saying
with
is
you.
None of us are qualified to have a solution for the feral cat. So
That's
right.
getting
or
into
or for the sociopath, right? Or
That's
the,
getting
like,
into a
because,
season of Dexter.
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
No, because
Like-
but there was a therapist or knew his father
Mm-hmm.
and helped the father come up with the code, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Spoilers. Anyway,
I should watch
She
Dexter.
viewed-
I've never watched it all the way, but
Okay.
I'm not a big.
she
it's
viewed
awesome.
I'm not a big
people like
serial
him.
killer, true crime guy.
Yeah.
I'm more into sci-fi.
We
but, you know.
we finished the whole. I've got it on DVD if you want to borrow it. I've got the whole box
what
set.
is it? It's on one of my streaming services. I can watch the whole damn
Yeah,
thing.
I was gonna say I've
just
got the whole
haven't,
box set.
Okay.
But viewed people like him as part of the natural order,
Mhm.
right? That nature has a way of balancing things.
Yeah. Let's
You
go
know.
back to where let's not use movies as our guide.
No.
Yeah.
But it gets you into like kind of a thought process, right? I'm not saying that it's right or if it's wrong, but just running that through as just a thought experiment.
Yeah.
You know, that why are people the way they are? Why, you know,
Right.
You're saying like
And-
the cat is broken. The cat
Well-
is, you know, that everything has to be inside.
I
You know.
agree that in society and in the long
Well-
timeline of humanity, there is
I
a
don't-
need for assholes.
Right.
But
I would-
Dexter's,
like-
I'm not sure about.
Yeah, no. But no, like I would so like where I and I don't think the feral cat is a good like metaphor just because of the fact that like a wild I get what you're saying with it, but I like so let's like we're talking about like, you know, Ted Bundy's like sociopaths, right?
Not just that.
Psychopaths.
There's people that are petty guys that are just like multiple offenders that are going to
Well, like-
continue to offend, and
Right.
it might just be little shit. But my point is they're feral cats because they're not
Right.
going to stop offending. What do you do
Sure.
with the repeat
So
offenders?
it-
that
it depends on what the issue-
constantly end up back in the system.
But it
So-
depends on what the issue is and
Yeah.
and why, right? Because again, like it's just saying like, well, they're just bad, right? So, but what does that mean? Like, are they repeat offenders?
And, well,
Because
I don't
Are-
believe they're just
yeah,
bad. I believe that the life that they've lived and genetics and so on and so forth have all led up to them being the way they are. The problem is that quite often, no matter what you do, no matter how many resources you pour into them, no matter how much you try to reach them, they are not reachable.
Well, this.
so
but
let
thi-
me
But this is,
let me
Okay.
Go
let me
ahead, Scott.
define
I
that.
have a-
Let
I
me
have a-
let me
I have a
define
thought.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
let me define that. Okay, so like things like antisocial personality disorder,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So like the you know most I'm gonna make a statement. I'm not sure about this.
Yeah,
but it's the most common, you know, mental illness in prison is antisocial personality, or it's not uncommon for someone in prison to have antisocial personality disorder, and in fact, or at least have high antisocial traits, right? And again, cops oftentimes have high antisocial traits, right? And so now that we see all these videos about cops, we're like, well, yeah, like, and all the times you bring
half
up
of them are the same as the fucking criminals they put into
Right.
to jail.
well, and,
you know?
and when you bring that up, like when you would bring up, well, cops score like the same on the the MMPI as criminals. Well, you need a criminal in order to catch a criminal. I'm like, that makes no sense because
No,
that means
that's
that they're committing
completely wrong.
crimes, right? They're not like no, they're supposed to adhere to the law, not
So
break the law.
I have
So
to
therefore,
commit a crime to stop a crime. Is that
Right.
It's like the whole like, well, it takes a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy with a gun. Well, I mean, I kind of sort of get that, but at the same time, it's like that's the wrong way to look at that.
right,
You know?
like
It's
yeah.
like, why don't we just
so
not have bad guys with guns? That's
So-
probably the better option.
antisocial personality disorder like doesn't adhere to society's laws. They kind of create their own laws, like the classic antisocial personality disorder archetype in movies would be like a would be like someone in the mafia, right? Like a mobster. Like they have their own code, right? Like kind of like, Joe describing Dexter, he has his code that he lives by, yet he refuses to adhere to society's code laws, right? And so
what's funny is when you look at like mob code and stuff like that, quite often it mimics or very much parallels standard societal norms, just on a wise guy side of things. Like, you don't fuck somebody over that's on your team, and you don't steal from somebody that you're, working with, kind of thing. There's they all kind of adhere to the same rules as regular society. The difference is that they feel like they're a different society from regular society, so that they then go and steal from society. And I'm sorry,
not
I'm not
entirely.
making a very good point.
No, but not entirely, because they will break their own codes because they don't mind.
But so do we in regular society.
But again, they're constantly
how often do you speed?
Moving the goalposts.
Yeah, how often do you speed?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
speed every fucking day, dude.
I almost never speed.
Oh, I speed all the damn time.
Yeah, I'm a grandpa driver.
Dude, never mind. You're a bad example.
Yeah.
But
Joe, how often do you speed?
But is that a code of yours? Like, it's not me saying
matter.
like
It's a code of our society, and I live in our society, and I break that code daily.
Okay, but again,
to all the
do you commit adultery
right now,
on your friend? Do you sleep with your friends' wives?
No.
Okay. Do you kill people?
No.
Do you kill people just because they've upset you, or you feel like they've wronged you? And feel justified in doing so. Not
in this
today,
universe.
No. Not equivalent. Right, exactly. Not equivalent.
Scott, I'm not saying it's necessarily equivalent. I'm just saying it's funny how quite often quite of the same norms that exist in regular society also exist in gangster societies, as far as like the whole concept of, if you're on my team, you don't fuck my team, kind of thing. Like if you're a U.S. citizen, you don't fuck another U.S. citizen.
Right.
But it's okay for us to go over there and go blow up some brown people,
But again, mafia, right. But mafias will also say you're not supposed to, but then they don't have an issue as long as
I agree. It's a false. You're right. It's not exactly equivalent. It's
right.
But there are
because they'll go and sleep with it, like, you don't fuck with our family, but then they'll turn around and they'll sleep with
parallels
because they want to.
But there are some parallels and similarities, because society is society. It has existed as society since we crawled out of the jungle, kind of thing.
Because mafia are people. And so people are like
people organize into societies quite often exactly the same way as they have for 10,000 years.
So there are some similarities because they are human beings. Yes. However, but they're not the same. But so that's why it looks the same.
I'm just saying is that, okay, yes, you're right. It's because we're human and they are human, even though they might be different or following a different set of rules, that quite often most of the same rules seem to also apply,
right?
But it's not equivalent. Yes, you're right.
And in fact, they oftentimes
trying to say that they are,
right. And what I'm saying is, like, they oftentimes don't even adhere to their own rules because in the moment it feels like it's what they want to do, and their ultimate
society
goal is
actually follow the rules. Was my whole point with the whole speeding thing. But also, wait, no. Look at our politicians. Look at our leaders. Look at the rich. Look at anybody that has any ability to break the rules. Look at if you can get away with something, quite often the average person will try to.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
No, it's quite more common than you think it is. If they can get away with speeding, the average person speeds on the daily basis.
But we all consider that a minor. But no. But we all consider that a minor infraction.
Yes, but it's still an infraction. If people think that they can get away with cheating on their taxes, quite often they will. So I'm not saying everybody will. I'm not saying the majority will, but it's quite common. And it's just like in mafia culture, not everyone's going to go and break the rules. Most of them fall in line, and those are not the bosses. The bosses break the rules all the time.
Would you say that most people are willing to steal directly from someone else?
I wouldn't say that
if they could get away with it.
I wouldn't say that.
Depends
necessarily.
on circumstances.
I would probably say, yeah, it depends on circumstances. It's
If
probably
your
a
child
minority,
is
but
if
it's
your
still
child is
more than
starving,
you
are you
would
gonna
think. You know,
Right.
and you
No, no,
can't
no. I'm
provide
talking about
food,
the
are you
average
willing-
person. I'm not talking about
No,
extremes.
it's
I'm
the
talking
average
That's
person in
starting to
average
become the
circumstances.
average person.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But like I'm just saying, like the average person that they're just gonna go off and rip and purposely hurt another person because they can get away with it.
Most wouldn't, but I would still argue that the percentage of people that do is higher than you probably think it is.
I would agree.
I think that's an assumption, but I don't think
It's an
there's-
assumption. Yes, I don't have data
Yeah.
to back that up.
Right.
But quite often
that's-
data shows a lower number than it actually should because people lie, and that is the norm. So,
but you can look
you
at
know.
statistics also. Like the
yeah,
majority,
people
like
lie.
no,
So,
no, 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 no. Like Damien,
Yeah.
we have the most people in prison
Mhm.
of any country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of our populace is in prison?
It's like 2% or something like that.
1%.
No.
Yeah. Well, I was close.
Yes,
1%.
but it's
Okay.
1%.
Yeah.
So 99% of people are not in prison
Yeah.
and are not purposely hurting people,
Yes.
like and committing crimes.
But on the
99%.
on the daily, I guarantee you 30 to 40% of people are breaking a law of some sort. Consciously breaking a law of some sort. Whether it be a minor infraction like speeding or jaywalking. I see jaywalking every fucking day. It drives me crazy.
But those like
You know,
but
even the
those are-
smartest ones are doing
those
it
are
too.
false equivalences.
It sorta. I mean, you're saying that the
No.
people that end up in prison, that are the quote unquote the worst of us, are that 1% is representing how much crime actually occurs. Crime is anything from anything that they can fine you for is a crime.
I said
So-
that I asked you willing to hurt other people.
Okay,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm
Jaywalking
looking at
doesn't hurt
crimes
anybody.
in general. Okay, I'm sorry. Willing to hurt other people, a very small percentage, because most
right.
people don't want to hurt other people because there's this thing
Most people
called
are
empathy.
very good people. Right.
Because there's this thing called empathy because we
Absolutely.
empathize with the person that's in front of us.
Right. We're
Even
not
if they
socialists.
piss us off, even if there's a little
Or,
voice in the
I'm
back
sorry,
of our
we're
head.
not antisocial.
Yeah. Even if there's
I
a
said
little
socialist.
voice in the back of our head that's saying, I'd really like to punch this person. That doesn't mean you're going to. That just means that, you might fantasize about it.
Sure.
But, that's not reality. And reality is
Right.
you just don't like that person. So,
Right.
and you walk away and you go about your day. But, yes, the vast majority of us aren't going to go around hurting each other. And I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were talking
Yeah.
about crime and you're talking about actual hurting somebody else.
Right. I'm talking
So,
about so I'm talking about like and again going back to like the feral cat
Yes.
thing. Right.
As far as
antisocial
crime
and
versus actually hurting somebody, I don't think that very many people are actually going to go hurt
Right.
people. Yes.
so yes. So
Unless
just
they were
saying like
starving to death, and then that
So-
number jumps to like 50%.
so for those few
Mm-hmm.
right, where
Yeah.
it's like the what you're trying to talk about or point out, when it comes to like the feral cat or whatever, for those few that are like
I
antisocial
thought we were still
personality-
talking about the mafia, but
Well,
that's what the mafia was like a tangent on, right?
okay.
Trying to like
okay.
Because
trying
I
to
have-
better like
I have a question about the feral cat
Okay.
because
You talking about my feral cat specifically, or just
not
any
not
feral-
yours.
okay,
The,
okay,
the,
all right.
the construct.
Concept of the
fictitious,
feral cat. Yeah.
the concept of the feral cat,
Mm.
and how we treat animals, how we treat each other. Okay.
Okay.
I still
because-
feed the feral
because-
cat, even though she
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah, that's
love me,
fine. Well, yeah, that's cool. But you were talking about how the feral cat will never get along in society.
Mhm.
Okay. What do we do with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So because of the feral
Back
cat
to the point.
is going
Thank you,
to the feral cat is always going to cause suffering
Mhm.
in society. And because the feral cat is always going to cause suffering in society will now cause suffering upon the feral cat. What do you do with a suffering animal?
You put them down quite often when it's suffering, so it will stop suffering.
Is that what we want to do?
No, it's not what I want to do.
Yeah, no one brought that up.
Yeah,
No, but
nobody
this is where
wants
my
to-
thought process
No.
was going.
I get exactly what you're saying, though, Joe. Is if you have a feral cat and it's suffering because it's feral and it brings suffering on others, so you bring suffering on it. What do you do with a suffering animal? Well, typically, what you do with a suffering animal is you put it down so it'll stop suffering.
Wait,
But we
Go
can't
back
do
to-
that to humans.
wait,
You
go
know,
back
I
to
don't-
define. What do you mean by? So again, like because like let's stay on topic.
What do I mean by what?
Let's because again, like let's
Because
Let's go
I
to-
was staying on topic. Because
I know.
This whole
Let's use like the person with antisocial personality disorder, right?
No,
or
well-
the sociopath or whatever.
Well, hold on.
Like
on.
with
There's
that
another-
particular person, what do
there's
you mean
another-
by
there's
causing
another little
harm?
point I'd like to interlude
Sure.
into all of this is that so the feral cat that I feed, she doesn't want anything to do with me, and if I touch her, she'll swat at me, with her
Right.
claws out,
Sure.
so she will cause suffering upon me. I still feed her, and by feeding her, I stop her from hurting other animals quite often. Now, she did bring a dead bird to the door today, but that's the first dead bird I've seen in months.
so by showing compassion.
Correct. And I know where you were going with that, Joe. That's why I'm bringing it up. So yeah, by showing compassion, by feeding the cat anyway, she stops hurting other creatures. And as long as I don't try to wrangle her up or bring her inside or put her in a cage, as long as I let her
as long
be
as
free
you know there are barriers to
and
the
I feed her,
relationship,
yeah,
and you stay outside of
Yeah.
those,
barriers,
stay with
yeah.
those barriers.
I stay in my lines. She's fine. Yeah. Now, if I were to stop feeding her altogether, she would stop coming to my door, and she would stop coming here, and she would just go eat birds and moles and fucking
Her-
squirrels and
her
hurt other
natural-
animals. Yeah.
Yeah, her natural instincts.
But as long as I keep feeding her, she doesn't, for the most part, doesn't kill other creatures. So, and she's
Right. Doesn't need to.
yeah, because she doesn't need to. So I get where you're going at, Joe, as well. Maybe the best solution is to provide the basic needs to everyone, basically, so that these feral cats don't come about, or at least if they do exist, their basic needs are covered or provided for, so that they don't go hurt other people.
Right.
Is that what you're trying to get at?
But
This
well,
is part-
my
that's part of
curiosity,
where I was going. Yeah.
Joe. Like, what do you mean? Like, we hurt them?
Well,
Taking away their
But-
freedom
but-
is
but-
can be
but
considered
he
an
was
attack,
saying that
so.
because this animal acts and behaves in a certain fashion, right? It cannot exist in society.
Mhm.
What other horrible way can you treat somebody than completely exclude them from everything?
Yeah.
Well, and so
You could still
no.
through
So,
compassion find something that can
in
that-
that metaphor, society is Damien's house.
That's a pretty fucked up society right there.
Oh, but no, like that could be any one of our houses. But no, like
Yeah.
right, like that's a fucked up society.
I mean,
You're right.
I
Yeah.
understand.
But no, in that metaphor,
Yeah.
society is the house, so he doesn't bring the cat into the house. So
I
he
get
keeps
that.
the cat, and by doing so, protects. Now,
She
so,
did
like,
walk inside one day. Just FYI. She walked inside one day. I opened the door. She jumped into the house, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And she looked around, and she was like, "Nope." And she turned back outside.
No, but I was looking at it also kind of like from the prison perspective, right?
Mhm.
To just lock someone away, right?
Well,
as a
right.
punishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you are not allowed in this house and you are confined to this.
right. So,
Right.
right.
You know, it was just a thought. It was just a thought process,
Right.
To think
So-
about.
Yeah.
Right.
Thought
So,
experiment more than
There was no.
but So you would have to, but again, we all agree with the concept of like a prison type
Mhm.
existence, right? Is a terrible, like an 8x4 kind of existence or whatever, like is a terrible,
Mhm.
type of existence to have to spend that, 21 days, 21
Yeah.
hours a day or
But
whatever it is.
and
And so,
again, I'm gonna have to throw this in there. The what's funny about that, what's funny about that is after 20 years of that, you prefer that existence to the actual. You become agoraphobic, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
because that's the norm. That's
You
what
become
yeah,
institutionalized,
you
just like we
become
found
yeah,
with
just
people
yeah,
of mental health. Yeah.
exactly. Yes. So yeah,
And
to,
and
to
and
bring back
and you kind of
Shawshank
find that with,
Redemption, he's
well,
institutionalized.
right.
So
No. But like also like with the military too,
mhm.
like people like not
Yeah,
being
people
able
coming out of the
to,
military have trouble dealing with regular society. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen
yeah,
it.
because
What you
everything was provided for them,
I
and they don't know how to like set it for themselves. The officers do because they have to set the standards for everyone else
I worked with an electrical
or set that
company that
stuff.
did electrical work for us. That their guys were basically all ex-military that were, quote unquote institutionalized, and to throw anything at them that was outside the box was like it was like if you spoke to them in a way that they didn't like that wasn't normal to them, or if you threw something at them that was outside the box that they were expecting, it was like whoa, they freaked out, and it was like, I can't work with your company anymore because I'm doing custom construction and you guys obviously cannot handle changes. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
what
I'm sorry.
what was the purpose of the company hiring them to help them adapt, or is it just to
No, it was
hire
more
just
along
them?
the lines of
Because that sounds like a management thing they need to work
yeah,
on.
it was more along the lines of the guy that ran the company was ex-military, and he hired people that were ex-military to give them jobs, not necessarily to bring them into society, but because he ran the company in a military-like manner. So it was
So as
very
opposed to helping them
regimented.
train,
Yeah, it was very
uh,
regimented. You do what you say. This is the chain of command. Yada yada yada.
Right.
And a lot of companies do actually work that way, but his was extreme, and I couldn't work with them because I walk on the job. Whoever's in front of me, I'm telling you what the fuck to do, and you better fucking do it. And if I have to go up the chain of command and talk to like 6 different people to get something done, fuck you. I sorry. I said I need an outlet there. Put the fucking outlet there. I don't care if the plan shows it or not. That's the way I run my jobs. So I say
Then-
that, you do that.
then his
So,
boss needs to
yeah.
tell you that you are his boss,
Yeah.
and let them know that you
Yeah.
are on the job site.
Oh, I
there-
agree with you, Joe, but
You
at
know,
the same,
but-
that's
but
not
at
how
the
that
same-
company ran. So
Well,
I'm used to working with people that are like sole proprietors that have like 3 helpers or like 2 crews, like small companies.
Yeah.
They're the best to work with for custom construction because you talk to the owner on a daily basis because he's out there on the job working.
Mhm.
He's running wires because he's the owner of the fucking company and he's gonna make it happen.
he's not just sitting in the
Yeah.
AC,
Yeah, exactly.
fielding calls, going
Yeah.
out and
Right.
playing golf.
I want
he's
an
actually,
outlet there. They're going to put an outlet there, and he's not going to charge me for it because he knows that cost him $1. So is he going to jeopardize the next $20,000 contract I have to hand him over $1.50 or something? No, they're already there. It costs them nothing. That other guy was like, "Oh, that's going to be $35." After it went up the chain of command and came back down, it's a $35 change order to put an outlet there. It's like, dude, your guy was there. It cost nothing when he was there to do it. But because you guys already left and then sent me a change order and you got to make a special trip, now it's a $35 change order. It's like, fuck you. I don't want to do business with you anymore. So it's like when you're there working, it's free. If I got to send it up the chain of command and like get a written friggin' change order for it, and a special trip actually is probably more like $135 because it's a special trip.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was lots of paperwork involved in
it
that
was like,
change order.
I can't
Building
work
the
with
military.
that, but his guys were very regimented and militarized kind of chain of command. So you couldn't tell the low guy on the totem pole what to do. and he would do it, he would have to tell his boss, who'd tell his boss, who'd tell his boss, who'd eventually tell the office. And, a week and a half later, the fucking outlet would materialize, but it cost you $125 instead of nothing. So it's like, I can't work with companies like that. But anyway, that was a whole aside that has nothing to do with our actual discussion.
Yeah.
I was trying to just kind of interlude there. So
No, so like, and as far as like, I agree that we want to protect, that we want to do what we can, right? Because I would love it if we could heal regardless of how hurt, right? But we're not there yet. And
that was kind of my point.
Our
of
government,
the feral cat is
yeah.
There are those that we cannot reach.
Right.
What do we do with that?
And so in those circumstances, that's where you have to create like places for them where like this person, like if someone's, you're, and again, fortunately they're not that common, but like your Ted Bundys, your, John Wayne Gacy's, and, people of that ilk, right?
Well, my whole point, the whole reason I was getting into that, my whole point was, and ultimately is we got two things we can do with feral cat. We can either put him in a cage or we can let him be free.
Right.
There are risks on both sides. On the let them be free, they risk hurting other cats.
Right.
Or birds and squirrels.
Right.
And
Animals.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You put them in a cage, now you got to fucking feed them and house them and take care of their medical issues. And there's the risk of them hurting other cats that are in cages next to them, and so on and so forth, So you take on the burden of caring for this feral cat until they die.
Right.
And that's what the prison system is.
And again, there might be some instances on the rarest of occasions. And again, this is where I get into the whole where I get into the I don't believe in execution, right? Because you can't say
they're alive.
That was part of the thought process of seeing if it would get there.
Well, and again, because it's like, you can't say murder is bad, so therefore I'm going to teach you by murdering you, right? I'm going to show you how bad you are by murdering you. And I get people saying, like, why is it that my loved one has to die, but they get to live? Yeah. Because we're better than they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you consider how many laws politicians break on a daily basis, but yet nothing ever happens to them.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
But again, that doesn't justify, that doesn't justify like not doing our job, right? That just means that we need to get them included with these things, right?
I agree. We've failed as a society when we don't actually bring to justice those that represent us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And part of that's because the media, the good and noble Congress and what have you, bull crap.
Yeah, both ends of the media spectrum.
Same with the good and noble CEO, right? They got there because they're the best and the smartest and blah 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 blah. They got there, anyways. And so
they ultimately, most of these people, no matter whether they're a CEO of a big company, a small company, so on and so forth, Congress, they got there by being very good at one thing, and that's manipulating other people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that there is to it. Whether they're a good salesman or what, that's still manipulation. They're good manipulators. So quite often not very good at actually doing anything, just good at manipulating people.
Hence a reason why so many of them have personality traits, like personality disorder traits.
Narcissistic personality disorder.
I'm not saying that they have the disorders.
I'm not saying everybody is, but I'm just
right. The traits of the traits of personality disorders, because people with personality disorders, at least cluster B traits, right? Cluster B, right? they are very good at manipulation. So that's antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality,
Which coincidentally quite often
histrionic
are the same
personality
people that
disorder.
we throw in our jails, but yet we
Right,
also are the
right.
same people that run our businesses and the
Right,
country for the most
exactly
part.
right.
It blows my mind. It's like
Right.
the same people we toss, the feral cats we toss into jails, are the same ones that we say, I want them to lead us.
Right, right,
It's like,
right.
fuck me.
Yeah. So,
And then the
you know,
few
if-
that aren't, like the Sanders of the world, are like shunned for having, radical ideas of like,
yeah.
actually
Of
taking care of
decency?
each other. Yeah, of decency and transparency and
Right.
lack of corruption and so on and so forth.
You know what
So,
it is? This
fuck
is
me.
ultimately where we're at. We're a culture that has abandoned ethics.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That is exactly it. Yeah.
We're a
Yeah.
culture that has
Correct.
abandoned ethics.
Yeah.
Right. And so we don't expect or demand anyone be ethical.
Mhm.
And so, and especially those we put in power positions, we do not expect ethics. And so,
I think part of it is, the cult of personality issue and the looking up to our leaders, and these people are the cream of the crop, so they must be infallible. Of course, there's also my team is the best team, the whole tribalism, if they're on my team, they're infallible, and if they're on your team, they're the devil, So, but anyway, go ahead with what you were saying. So
yeah, no. That's just that statement that we like,
Yeah.
because again, like you look at like, the justice system and the Supreme Court, like we're not like holding them to ethics. Like we don't hold Congress to ethics. We don't hold the president to ethics. We don't hold we don't like our leadership. We don't hold accountable to be ethical, and it trickles and that trickles down. Right.
Yeah.
And now we look at like ourselves of like, because again, like, why do they support Trump? Well, because ethics don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But again, why do they support Biden? Because ethics don't matter. Right. It's the lesser of two evils. Just he's more unethical than my unethical person. Right. And so let's just get the better of two evils. Right. Like I really want us.
I don't.
I really
disagree with
want us.
that, yeah.
I really want us to get into ranked choice
I
voting.
voted for Biden in the last election because he wasn't Trump. I mean, like I said before, leading up to the 2020 election, I would have literally voted for a retarded monkey if that was my candidate to vote for. Let me rephrase that. A mentally challenged monkey.
You caught yourself. Hey, fair enough, right? Hey, we grew up in that time where
Yes.
saying the R word was
Yeah.
acceptable.
That was normal. That
And
was
so,
normal. That was an everyday. We would
And
call
so-
each other retard every day.
And you caught yourself
yeah.
and you corrected yourself.
Yes.
That's all. That's
Yeah.
what, like, because
A
we all
mentally
sometimes
challenged
say the wrong
monkey,
thing.
or
That's
maybe
all right.
maybe a slow monkey, or however you want to put it.
Right.
But yeah, I would have voted for any monkey over Trump. I mean, literally. I mean, I would have voted for Hillary Clinton over Trump again. So,
What
that's
I
saying a lot.
do think is
Yeah.
interesting about you, Damien,
Mhm.
is that you correct yourself when it came to the mentally challenged part, but you didn't correct yourself with the racist part. And so,
What, a
like-
monkey? That's not racist.
No,
I'm
just
talking
kidding,
about
I'm
an
just kidding.
actual
No,
fucking monkey, like a rhesus monkey.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I would have voted for an ape, a chimpanzee, an orangutan, a gorilla. I don't care. A rhesus monkey, a freaking
feral
bush baby.
cat?
Yeah,
feral
I
cat.
would have voted for a feral cat before I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I would have voted for Mitt Romney before I voted for Trump. If Mitt Romney was the Democratic presidential candidate, I would have voted for him, and I hate Mitt Romney. So
Wait, but you hate him after he said that hot dog was his favorite meat?
if hot dog is your favorite meat, then there's something wrong.
You would vote against him after he came out and said on National Hot Dog Day that hot dog was his favorite meat? You didn't see the pictures of him, like in
No.
the video of him with like
I
the
don't
hot
believe
dog
so.
and holding it, like almost like Will Ferrell and his like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do.
I may have seen it. I forgot. But anyway,
I'll repost that to you or whatever.
yeah, I will vote. I would have voted for a toddler in diapers. With what was that? The Zika virus where they have no brain.
Yeah, Zika virus.
Yeah, the Zika virus. But what is it called when they don't have a brain? It's a
Oh,
something.
the microcephaly.
Yeah, that's it. I would have voted for a toddler with microcephaly over Trump as president. Let's put it that way. I would have voted for a brainless individual over a fully, well, I shouldn't say fully functional, a partially functional septuagenarian over him. So anyway,
here's my question to y'all.
The toddler without a brain wouldn't be able to do any damage. So,
Here's my question to y'all.
Okay.
How the heck can I like recall and pull up microcephaly?
Mm-hmm.
Yet I'm stumbling over trying to remember Dianne Feinstein and John Fetterman. Like,
I think John Fetterman you popped off.
My brain does
much
weird
easier
things too,
than Dianne
so.
Feinstein, but
yeah,
I mean, there's certain people that just like your
What's wrong
brain
with
wants to divert from.
like yeah. That's what John Fetterman. I really want to like keep up with or what. Like I love that man. He's great.
It's like I can tell you the nail
no,
pattern
no.
on plywood and in a windstorm installation, windstorm OSB installation, but I can't tell you the fucking name of somebody I know.
Yes, yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, no. It's I just like, I hope like maybe Eric has gotten to me at this point in time. But,
Eric has
like,
gotten to all of us.
I know, right?
Eric,
So,
it's your
like,
fault. When you listen to this, it's all your fault.
Yeah, like
You've corrupted us.
I am absolutely voting for Marianne Williams and the Williamson and the in the primary. I'm sorry, I'm getting like these like beeps in my headphones, and I'm like, what's going on? And I forgot it's like
It's 10:30.
my draft. Oh yeah.
Do we even have anybody watching this at this point?
I have no idea. Probably.
Can anybody tell?
I think
It's been
Josie
3
only one that
hours
can
and
see.
12 minutes.
No,
I think
I'm
Joe's the
still
only one that
here.
can see.
Oh,
No,
If
I think
anybody's
Joe's the only
still
one that can
watching?
see. Yeah.
Can we
I think-
tell?
it says one watching, but it's probably Scott because I think I closed my browser
Well, he
because
did-
I've
he
got
did
you
comment
guys right
earlier.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's I just so in the primary, I'm definitely I'm gonna vote for Marianne Williamson. And if she doesn't get the candidacy for the Democrats, then I'm voting for Cornel West and the Green Party. And so because first off, I'm in a blue state, and so and I would even recommend with y'all like
When we go to
Vote
a
for-
ranked
vote-
choice voting system, I will vote for whoever the fuck I want to vote for. But until that time, I'm going to vote against whoever I think is going to fuck up this country the worst.
I just
yeah.
I don't know if Florida is purple. Like if it's still
No.
purple.
This is a red state.
Yeah.
It hasn't been purple in 2 election cycles. So,
So
this is a red state now.
If it's guaranteed red, I would recommend voting for like a third party person just so that they get enough to get financial backing from the government.
Yeah, but we're a red state, but not by a whole lot. So
Right.
there's the possibility
That's where I'm
vote
like
for who if I vote blue, that will we will go blue if enough people do.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So there's a possibility. It's an outside possibility, but it's still possible. If I was in like a 60-40 state, I would vote for whoever the fuck I want because I know there's no
Mississippi. If you're in
chance.
Mississippi,
Yeah, I'd vote for whoever the fuck I want because there's
Yeah.
no chance. You know,
yeah, Florida is still a little bit of a
Florida
toss-up.
is kind of almost purple. It is. We are a red state at this point, but we are almost purple. And
Yeah.
I say we're a red state because our legislature, the entirety of it, you know,
Yeah.
senators, House of Representatives, the governor, it's all red.
Even
Yeah.
the
Even at
Supreme
local
Court.
levels, yeah, the Supreme Court's red. Even at local levels, most of the governments are red.
Yep.
So it's all red across the state, with exception of some blue pockets. And I mean, it is what it is. So, you know, we're a red state.
You know,
There's
here's the worst part.
possibility in federal elections that we might go blue, but it's an outside possibility.
Here's the worst part is that
Mm-hmm.
the bluest part of Florida is the area that's going underwater.
Yeah.
And like the
Yeah.
reddest part of Florida
Is
is
the part that's going to survive?
yeah. And so and like
Yeah.
that part really sucks.
Well, what's going to happen when the bluest part of Florida goes underwater? They're all going to move. Where are they going to move
Yeah.
to? The red parts of Florida. And what's going to happen then? They're going to turn blue.
Yeah.
So, because
We'll see.
their population is far greater than.
Yeah.
If you look at population wise, it's almost a 50-50 state. But because of the way that the voting districts are set up, that's not how it works. It's more like 60-40. So, or
This
well,
is
not quite
this is
that.
this is a terrible joke.
55-45, you know. So,
This is a terrible joke, but
Mhm.
I feel really bad because so many Cubans escaped Fidel Castro
mhm.
and his barbarism by taking a raft over to Florida.
Yeah.
And when Florida sinks again, these
They gotta
poor
take a raft?
historic
There's a certain group of people that are more prepared than the rest of us. Is that what you're saying?
They're gonna survive. All the white guys are like, oh, I can't swim.
What do I do? I don't... No, I just
No, but all
like
the white guys own
historically,
boats,
they're
so-
family. We had to do it again. Like, didn't we do it? Was it once
Yes.
enough?
But the difference is the white guys own boats, so
Yeah, right.
they'll be able to get out.
Or
There'll be two or
they'll,
three of them on a
It's
boat at a time.
whoever
you know?
can make it to the boat faster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And,
Good point.
and the most redneck of them all have the fan boat.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the most redneck of them all have the boat with the big Trump flags on them that sink.
Yeah,
You know, when they.
true. But yeah, so I just like that's
Mhm.
you know, Eric has gotten me, and like if in 2024, if Eric and I both happen to vote for Cornell West, I think that will be one of the most beautiful things I have ever witnessed, because the two of us coming together to unite for a single presidential candidate. Dare to dream, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Dare to dream. Then nothing is impossible.
Oh, I forgot.
All right.
I forgot I made this because this was something I was going to play last time.
If Kevin Costner were to run for president,
Oh,
You guys wouldn't see me because I'd be below the table.
yeah, I was gonna say we know
you'd
who
be on the
the
campaign.
we know who the first lady would be.
Dare to dream, y'all.
Dare to dream.
Dare to dream. Kevin.
All right.
Call me.
I think it's time to call it a night.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'm tired.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
y'all.
I still haven't fed the cats, and they're looking at me like they're gonna start chewing on my ankles. So
You son of a
Yeah.
bitch, we're going feral.
yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
All right,
All right.
y'all. Hey, see y'all in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Hopefully, at that time. Wait, is that I think that's the one. Hopefully, at that time we'll have special
Thrash.
guest, Thrash Pondo Ponds, joining us. And we'll
Eric will be back.
Eric will be back. And Joe, I'm glad you don't have to edit this. So
Me too. It would be a beast.
yeah. So anyways, much love, y'all. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later.
All right.
And I have pity for those who make it all the way through the stream
Yeah.
when they rewatch
3
it.
hours, 20 minutes. Damn. If you stuck
Hope
it out to
y'all
the
ready.
end, more power to you. You're true
Yeah,
fans.
we love you.
If
Don't
you-
forget
if-
to like and subscribe.
Hey,
You like
If-
and subscribe.
if you stuck it all the way out to the end, please put a comment that you stuck it out. All right, because anyone who puts a comment that they watched the whole thing, I absolutely like you have to put in a comment, and then I will message you, and I want to know what that banner said. And if you watch the whole thing, if you put a comment in here that you watched the whole thing, then you've made it to the end. So I put a comment that you watched the whole thing so that we can call you out by name,
But
and
they have to
applaud
be
you.
right here at this point to know to do that.
Yeah. So actually, if you put a
I
comment,
will even send a free picture of my CN tower to anybody that
Oh,
comments.
oh, don't do that. We want them to comment. We
4%
want
of
them to
French
comment.
viewers
Talking
are
about
going to
my
be
CN
messaging
Oh
you.
yeah. That's
My
right. That's
CN
right.
tower.
That's right.
He'll send you a personalized selfie.
I'll
Yeah.
even sign it.
Yeah, a signed picture of the CN Tower.
Like
Damien
and subscribe
CN Tower.
and send a request to one of us. I don't know how the hell you're going to do that, but anyway, do it.
Yeah.
So
And then but no, put in a comment. I want to applaud you and give you absolute kudos. So all right. Much love, y'all. Have a wonderful day. See you in 2 weeks.
peace.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.